which was actually
typically during the weekdays. I don't really go out on weekdays, and I certainly don't drink on weekdays. March Madness week was a little different.
Threw it off
Tonight, I'm looking forward to a couple nights just being lazy at night and staying in and not drinking, frankly. So to answer your question, yes, I went out every night
and had fun.
I did. I had a great time until last night. Until last night's game, where we all know the Kansas Jayhawks put together a pitiful performance. I understand they came back from down 14, but that first half in particular, Cody, you mentioned you were playing basketball with your son or whatever.
Yeah.
Kansas trying to inbound the basketball looked like an 8-year-old basketball team that just didn't get the concept. Like it was, you're playing
after
that.
a while, it was like I was actually yelling at Trey White. Yes,
there's if you watch, your kids play or my nephews play basketball when they were younger, and the first opponent they face that decides to kind of press and they've never seen it before and they don't get the concept of like, of how to inbound the basketball. That's what Kansas looked like. That's what Kansas looked like for the most part in that basketball game. And the offensive struggles we've talked about throughout the entire season. But there were a couple things late in the game too, man. I thought Kansas completely botched the ability that they had after the comeback. They tie it up and they have multiple fouls to give. And so naturally you're going to foul and try to eat up some clock. Okay, that's a great strategy. And there's intentional fouls in college basketball. Okay, all good. But they were not executing it well at all. And it was evident right away. I think we all were texting about it, which was St. John's was never going to run down the court
and try to
shoot it with 12 seconds to go in the game. They were never doing that. So why were you trying to foul a second after they inbounded the basketball? So the advantage you had to use multiple fouls and eat up clock, they didn't even get that. Now, it still ended up being 3.9 seconds, and Kansas was afraid to guard because of the foul situation, I guess, and on Marco Jackson, it was pitiful. But like that, I thought the players were terrible in executing the foul plan late. And then on top of it, Bill Self, his decision to put Marco Jackson back in the game, I think, was a big whiff.
So that was a misstep that bothered me less than the rest of it. The simple reality is the end of game execution, like the way that they fouled, was wrong in two ways. One, yes, they should have fouled in some capacity. But as you saw Bill Self yelling, for the first couple, he was like, wait longer. What are you doing? The very first foul they committed was after like a second. You're like, no, dummies. That's not how this works. Let him get up the court a little bit. Let him take as much time as they want. And the other mistake I think they made was the final foul at 3.9 seconds, they shouldn't have fouled then. They should have agreed to stash the final foul goal for the reason you mentioned. So that in the final possession, when they're going to shoot, if it ends up being a driving situation, you can safely feel comfortable hooking them before they lay the ball up. So that they can't get all the way to the rim and they have to actually physically shoot the basketball, not just lay it in at the end of the game. So they shouldn't have fouled the final time, but they should have taken way longer fouling them all the other times. A lot of times, and I think there was a Chiefs game in the regular season, we talked about it. I can't remember the one. We talked about this exact same way. As a Kansas fan, and I think if you're just a fan of basketball, the most frustrating thing in sports is to watch your team do all the work to like grind back into a game. You were getting your ass kicked. You were down 14. You're playing like crap. And then, Darren Peterson turns it on a little bit. Start making some shots. The lead starts dwindling. You get it all tied back up, Gold, with 13 seconds to play. And then you blow it? And blow it in a way that you could have controlled it? I imagine, like, as a Kansas fan, that is a frustrating way to end that game.
Yo, for sure. Yeah, I mean, at halftime, thought they were going to lose, and then they come back from down 14. At that point, you believe they're going to end up winning the basketball game. So yeah, I mean, it's one of those heartbreak type of losses. Now, it's not anywhere in the top 3 or 4. I had somebody ask me this morning on social media, hey, where does that one stack up on KU heartbreak? It's not even in the top 3 or 4. I mean, the Bucknell, the Northern Iowa years where I thought those teams were going to go and win a national title in those particular years, those are way worse. Like when Kansas lost to Bucknell or Bradley, those years, I legit thought they were going to go win a national title. You guys have been listening to the show throughout the college basketball season. I never thought this was a team that was going to win a national championship. So it's not in the top 3 or 4. It's definitely in the top 7. You lost on a buzzer beater, so that automatically moves it up the list drastically. But the way this team had played in so inconsistent nature, as we said, everything's on the table. They could be a first game exit. They could be a team that makes it to the Final Four. Who knows what their range is? And, well, we found out they are a second-round tournament team yet again, and they failed to get to the Sweet 16. We'll talk more about only one Sweet 16 in the last 7 years, and as it pertains to Bill Self and his comments about his future. We'll get to that around 10:30 or so. But, yeah, the way that played out was frustrating also because St. John's did not play great either. St. John's, college basketball is weird, so watch them beat Duke, but at this point, you would have to think, Duke should run right through St. John's. St. John's was not good yesterday, and Kansas still couldn't win.
The only player who looked good for all of St. John's might have been Ejiofor.
For
I
sure.
understand
He's awesome.
Hopkins eventually scored quite a bit in that game too, but the thing that really surprised me was if you look at the ancillary stats, the way that St. John's shot from, you don't normally outscore a team. You don't outshoot a team in percentage from 2, from 3, from the free throw line. You don't normally do all that and then lose a basketball
but 16
game.
Turnovers will do it.
I will also point out that Darren Peterson did eventually turn it on and took control, and he got his points, and that's good. And we can talk about his time at Kansas here in just a minute as it relates to Kansas as well. Bryson Tiller was an anchor. They had a couple of guys on the court that were useless. Trey White and Bryson Tiller, were they working against Kansas? Did they want them to lose? It looked like they were trying to lose the game. I'm not saying they were. I'm just like, they were so bad.
Dramatic.
They were so bad in that game. It was like, did the Monstars steal your talent? Anytime you get those games where you're two guys just, and look, Trey White's was, he couldn't score and the inbounding stuff. They pulled him from it for one. They let Bryson Tiller do it for one inbound just to maybe give Trey White a half a second to think. Because after 30 minutes, it's you still haven't figured it out? You still haven't figured out how to do this? But they had a couple guys who just couldn't help. And if you weren't going to get the big Flory game, and they didn't get the big Flory game, and Darren Peterson wasn't going to drop 40, they just had too much where they weren't getting enough out of that. They went deeper in the bench than normal.
Flory got 2 fouls early in the game, too. He got 2 fouls early. Bryson Tiller and Trey White, Tiller hadn't played good in over a month. Trey White, I would argue, hadn't played well in over a month either. And it took Melvin Council far too late in the game to really get going as well.
Him and Peterson going back and forth for a while was fun.
Well, that's why they came back. And then Cole Rosario, who, at the beginning of the season was in the starting 5 and then ran out of favor, and Tiller played great against North Carolina early in the year, and that seemingly was all right, well, let's play him, and it just didn't happen. Now, if Tiller hangs around KU, I think he can develop and be a very good player. You just mentioned Zuby. I think as time, Zuby was not that player last night when he was at Kansas, right? He developed into that player. So if Tiller hangs around, I think he could maybe be that. But who knows in today's day and age, and also the future of Bill Self can change everything with where the current roster is or current guys that might be interested in coming back and everything. But yeah, it's an exit that should not shock anybody that paid attention to this team this year.
No.
But it's extremely frustrating because they came all the way back from 14 and, they were actually in a pretty good spot with the foul situation to drag that thing out to overtime, and they would have had the foul advantage in overtime as well. Probably, I actually think they would have won in overtime.
Easily, I do too, because of the situation that they were in. St. John's was foul trouble-wise.
Yeah.
This is the Darren Peterson era is going to be remembered really weird because normally when you talk about biggest disappointment as far as players go in in college history or university programs history, those kinds of things. You think about the players who just never develop into being good players. Darren Peterson's still the all-time leading freshman scorer at Kansas. That says something about your ability to play and to score. It's not even like he was bad in that game. He wasn't bad in that game, other than the weird stuff that happened in both tournament games. The one against Cal Baptist too, which obviously we didn't talk about because it took place after the show on Friday, which is why did he go so long in both games without either scoring or taking a shot or whatever? But he's not that. He's not like one of those Kansas players or any
in
player.
Both games. Again, last night he was the first bucket they made.
No, I meant in a stretch in the game.
Gotcha.
Not at the beginning of the game.
I was he was the first first 6 points scored.
It was hell in the Cal Baptist game. It was the final 8 minutes. It's where did Darren Peterson go?
Yeah.
And in this game, there was a 4 or 5 minute stretch where he didn't attempt a field goal, and so there was this part where that has happened a little bit, but it's also not this is. He's not an all-time disappointment in program history. He was still a really good player the entire time he played for you, but it's so marred with their injury stuff, and now it's a short tournament thing. And so he's never going to be a Kansas favorite.
Yeah, no. And I think, I know we had the discussion on Friday about, what constitutes success for NIL and all that. I mean, the reality is, look at the reaction that fans are, and I know it's social media and it's gut reaction stuff last night, but look at the reaction people are having toward Bill Self with another early exit. This is why the conversation last week, we were just saying, is it a successful time to have AJ DeBanzo or Darren Peterson? And they're two different questions. Would you do it all over again? Of course. Did you get what you expected out of it? No. I mean, that you are judged on what this is how we go through college basketball. You're judged on what you do in the tournament, plain and simple. Bill Self is judged what he does in the tournament. That's why the reaction has been the reaction. Darren Peterson, yes, February pulling himself out of game at Oklahoma State matters, but ultimately, if Darren Peterson would have got them to a Final Four, nobody would have cared. Well, no. He wasn't the reason they didn't advance to the Sweet 16, but his time at Kansas, because this team was an early exit on top of all the stuff from earlier, people are not going to view it fondly at all.
No,
that's just the reality of how it works.
I always wonder how it works with fans. Like, if he goes on, let's just say he's one of the 10 best players in the NBA. Let's say he turns into a superstar in the NBA, which is not out of the question for Darren Peterson.
Who knows? Yeah.
Still could happen. Do you proudly claim him?
I don't know. People really.
I just don't know how that works. No, I'm just asking.
No, I'm saying, but Joe,
I don't know the answer.
No, I'm with you. Joel Embiid. I mean, KU fans claim him, but it's in this market. People don't go crazy for the NBA in Kansas City and follow their guys. I mean, KU has had some big time pros at the next level, and it doesn't mean suddenly that the Kansas City market is full of Philadelphia 76ers fans. So no. I mean, the diehards, sure. If Darren Peterson ever wins an MVP in the NBA or something like that, sure, but that's former Kansas Jayhawk Darren Peterson. But I don't know if naturally there's going to be everybody around town wearing Indiana Pacer Darren Peterson jerseys. Drew will like that one.
But there were people doing that for champions. Like people, Kansas fans still liked following the career. I thought of Mario Chalmers or the guys who won something for Kansas, which makes sense. I just didn't know how it'll feel down the road for the Darren Peterson NBA run. And maybe nothing, like you said. Kansas City's not a huge NBA town at this point.
Yeah, someone says you should be talking about the team that won, not lost. You're right. In Kansas City, we should be talking about St. John's. That's right. We should be breaking down St. John's and Rick Pitino. You nailed it right there. We're talking about Kansas losing, Bill Self maybe retiring, and then we haven't even talked about Missouri yet. They're kind of off the hook because of Kansas losing last night. I feel like everybody forgot the Missouri Tigers lost in the opening round.
We can talk about them,
but they weren't expected to do anything. That's the difference. But
also, I've talked about this the same as we will talk about Kansas coming up here in a little bit and what their run recently of not going to Sweet 16s has been. Missouri, on the other end, no-showed that game against Miami. They were lucky they even had a chance there in the middle of the second half where they had crawled their way back in and finally made a game of it because they were the worst team the whole way in that thing. And look, Mark Mitchell, this kind of lands in the Darren Peterson part. Mark Mitchell was not the reason why they did not advance to the round of 32. He played okay. It wasn't that. But there were a couple of guys who were, and then they get kind of stuck in neutral. And the problem with the Missouri basketball program at this point is they haven't advanced. They have so few tournament wins the last decade and a half that you're starting to wonder when they will or will they ever again be over that hump again. We can talk about some of the individual play because honestly, the single biggest anchor they had in that game was T.O. Barrett, who was a player that when they had started getting hot and playing better in the SEC, we'd given credit for as being a really good developmental guy for Missouri and how far they'd gotten around. He was awful. Awful. I mean, he was 0 of 7 or 0 of 8 from the field, but it was worse than that. He was an active working against them most of the game. And so they're just the program has been stuck in neutral for so long. I just don't know where Missouri's basketball program goes.
The part that was shocking, I thought, and I think you did as well, the crowd advantage would have been a bigger factor for Missouri.
So
they never really gave them much of a chance to get into it. I guess right before halftime when they cut the lead down, and then in the second half for a brief period of time, but then they got out of hand.
But then it was right back to 7, 8, 9. Anytime Missouri got within 4 or 5, it stretched back out to 7, 8, 9.
But that also was going back to how each of these teams had their stories during the season, and in large part it played out the same way in the NCAA tournament. I mean, Missouri had the big win to open up SEC play with Florida and Kentucky, but then they also down the stretch entering the SEC tournament even, they had losses to Oklahoma and didn't look great. And then yet going to the tournament, they got the break by not being in the first four, by not having to deal with Dayton
Getting
and
a home game,
playing Miami,
yeah.
Ohio, maybe in Dayton or whatever that would have been, and who knows what that game would have looked like. And then they get to play just east of Columbia in St. Louis against a Miami team with a first-year head coach, and it didn't give them the advantage that everybody kind of expected. And so they have a pretty good recruiting class on paper heading into next season. We'll see. That's why I asked the question on Friday. Is Dennis Gates overachieving based on the talent on the roster? And he's coaching them up way more than we think, or we're going to find out next year. Is he just a really good recruiter and his coaching is actually limiting them? I don't know the answer. I think next year will tell us a lot about Dennis Gates based off of, if you believe the rivals type sites and how they rank out recruits. He's going to have his best recruiting class ever.
Well, it all comes down to the same thing, which is it is okay at a program, a program like Missouri or a program like, we've talked about some of these other like mid-tier SEC, Big 12, Big 10 programs. It's okay to just be a regular tournament team and sometimes have some round of 64, round of 32 losses. That would be expected. Like, that's not uncommon. Like, that can be, that can be a normal part of the growth of the program. They've been in the tournament 3 of the 4 years under Dennis Gates. There's nothing wrong with that in its nature, but you do eventually have to get wins. And I think you had pointed this out. It's like Missouri doesn't have very many tournament wins.
I think
over the last 15 years.
One since 2013.
Yeah, I mean, it's 2026. It's a long time to have a single tournament win. You got to get out of this early exit stuff. And the Miami one favored you a little bit. It's that, or you got to find yourself getting, like, I think for Missouri, I think the important part for their development of their program is get out of the, 8 to 11 seed stuff and find yourself as, a 5 or a 6 for once.
Well, sure,
yeah.
I
understand, but, that's how you might actually get a tournament win. Is, find yourself as a 6 seed. I'm not saying, a 2. Find yourself as a 6 seed. That way it's a little bit easier when you're getting into these matchups where you are the favorite team. You do have more of an advantage. You can face a team in the second round, in the round of 32, that is more favorable as a matchup for you. Because none of us would have given them a chance to beat Purdue anyway. I would have thought that they would have gotten. Now that's not hindsight. I thought they were losing to Purdue, but I thought they'd beat Miami. I was shocked at how bad T.O. Barrett was. He only played 14 minutes in that game. He got in trouble immediately, couldn't hit a shot. They just couldn't put him on the floor anymore. They were just hoping Mark Mitchell would score 60, I guess.
It's the not that them losing was a shocker, but it's the randomness still of the NCAA tournament. It really is. It's cliche, but it's who is playing their best basketball heading into March Madness. And Missouri wasn't. Kansas sure as hell wasn't. No. A team like St. John's was. Now, they didn't look great yesterday, but they're playing their best. I think we all know Arizona is. Then you would argue you go through some of these other teams, that just surprises happen. Was Iowa playing their best basketball necessarily heading into yesterday? I would argue no, but it didn't matter. Arkansas is playing their best basketball, and they're rolling right now. Iowa State, some of these teams truly are playing their best, and there's other ones where crazy breaks happen. Nebraska against Vanderbilt. We all saw that unbelievable game. I know we're going to talk about the full Sweet 16 field coming up later on in the show, but I think we all thought that Vanderbilt shot was in. The ball was in, and it came so just random. Breaks happen. I think Missouri and Kansas both deserve to lose based on how they perform in their respective games. But the point is, randomness happens in the tournament. It's crazy. It's also why we love it.
Yeah, there were multiple shots. Because the Kentucky one in the first round, you're like, how did they hit
the Santa Clara Kentucky game?
That shot goes in, and then of course the other one misses somehow. If you look at the screenshot of that thing, it's halfway in the cylinder.
It's in.
It's that shot's all the way down.
That was one of the best tournament games in a while. Vandy and Nebraska.
It really was.
Was that Friday night? Was that been? Yeah. Saturday night. Saturday night. Yeah.
Saturday night. Friday night would have still been around a 64 games.
Yeah. Saturday night.
Which was this. And again, we'll talk about the Sweet 16. It's just weird. You're right. Missouri did get I guess the problem is with Missouri is that I was going to give them a free pass after the round of 32 anyway. We were going to come on here on Monday if they had beaten Miami and then showed up and then lost to Purdue. You'd be like, all right, build off of it. Sure, Purdue gotcha. To be expected. That was the number 1 ranked team of the country going into the year. They're a force, right? It would have been understandable where it was, but they didn't even really put up much of a fight against Miami. Like, there were quite a few close games in the round of 64 field, like, especially in those 8-9, 7-10, 6-11 matchups. There were a lot of good games in those mixes.
Our tournament coverage is presented by Busey Bank, the official bank of the Big 12. Drew, people are asking on the text line, were you wearing a St. John's jersey yesterday?
Yeah, were you wearing a Johnny shirt?
There's part of me that, for the show's sake, was hoping you were going to walk in with a St. John's hat or a St. John's jersey or something.
I was not. I did not. I don't have any St. John's apparel. I don't want any St. John's apparel.
Why not?
You got a bunch of college team apparel, so there was a chance.
I mean, if you got like an old school, like one of the New Balance windbreakers with the old St. John's logo, then yeah, I'll take it. I don't have any St. John's gear though. I do not. I will say that I know that that last play design was genius by Rick Pitino. I think for how they won the game.
I just think Kansas was pitiful on defense.
I think that was
they were pitiful on defense.
But you take the best rim defender maybe in the country away from the basket, and then you drive opposite. Florida didn't have enough time to recover. There was no help on the other side because they used the guy that had no baskets in the game. That was the entire sequence was. I mean, some of it I think was also not particularly great defending, but they used the guy that nobody expected to take the last shot, and you also took away the one defender who could block a layup away from the basket entirely.
I think he got
super
near the rim. I think maybe he could
smart.
have gotten there, and he pulled off because he didn't want to get called for a foul.
Floyd was I think he was too late. I think
he might have been.
I think he was going to be too late, which again goes to the play design.
I thought, again, the KU players, the final 14 seconds with the whole foul situation, I don't know if they got confused, if they weren't thinking it out. I mean, Bill Self's telling them foul, 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 but then also they're fouling too quick. And so that backfired. And then late, they're saying, don't foul because you have no more to give. And I think, that caused them to play soft. Yeah. And then Elmarco Jackson was having a terrible basketball game. He was, including the missed layup or dunk early on in the basketball game. You can go play that game with so many sequences, but still that was 2 points they obviously could have used. And Cole Rosario, he was a huge spark. I don't think he should have been the defender still on the floor, but
agreed.
Jamari might have been the better option defensively.
Considered a better defender than Elmarco is, though?
I think you also have to look at the game, though.
Team in.
Right. I think you also that was his reasoning for it. He was asked about it. I just think at some point it's not your day at the office. And Elmarco Jackson was having a terrible day.
If you got no
confidence,
confidence, are you the person who should be on the court? I will say, as someone who's been accused of ageism on this show, a lot of old coaches in the Sweet 16. Did you guys see that stat?
Yeah.
It was like Rick Pitino's 73, Izzo's
71.
Barnes, Sampson,
and
all in
that's
their
something
70s.
we can get into on the other side because it's interesting that Pitino, Izzo, Barnes, Sampson, Calipari, all still around. This idea that your older coaches, the game passing you by, and yet the name on that list, of course, is not Bill Self. He's not in the Sweet 16, and it's still why I do not believe the game is just passed Bill Self by. Does that mean that there aren't adjustments he has to make and a hard look in the mirror? Absolutely, that needs to happen. But this idea that he can't win in this era, but Pitino and Izzo and Barnes and Sampson and Calipari can, but Bill Self is the one of the bunch that can't figure it out. I just call BS on that.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like that wouldn't be the reason alone, but as you'd mentioned, it's like he was talking at least a little bit different. But there are plenty of old coaches. Like, it wasn't like Rick Pitino's not someone it's 73 years old, you're still counting on making Sweet 16s, but he's in there. And so are these other older coaches.
Coming up next, let's talk more about Bill Self. He was asked about his future, and for the first time, it seems like he is seriously considering stepping away from college basketball. We'll get into that, and it is opening week of baseball. Royals have an opener coming up on Friday in Atlanta. We'll discuss them next right here on Cody and Gold.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Cole Reagans, and you're listening to Cody and Gold. Weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Men, we all know how important sex is in a relationship, both for you and your partner. But erectile dysfunction ruins sex, which can often have serious impacts on your relationship as well. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if ED is a problem in your life, you understand the impacts it has on you and the one you love. But I'm here to tell you that ED is a treatable condition, and almost without exception, you can have really good sex again. At Heartland Men's Health, we're experts in treating ED. We've treated tens of thousands of men with protocols that are effective in well over 90% of cases, which means if you're like most guys, good sex will be the norm. You could even last up to an hour or more and bring a level of intimacy for you and your partner that might just astound you both. It's time to have really good sex again, so call us. Just $99 gets you blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices: Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City.
Feeling the heat? Don't sweat it. Turn to Comfort Systems Heating and Cooling. With temperatures rising, now's the time to make sure your AC is ready to keep you cool. Whether it's your home or your business, Comfort Systems services both residential and commercial systems across the Kansas City area. Call today for a fast tune-up, repair, or a system upgrade so you can stay cool all summer long. Family owned and operated since 1990, comforting people is what we do. Comfort Systems is right for you. MyComfortSystems.com.
Rally House, shop every team in town. College and pro, come on, it's time to go.
The season starts at Rally House. From jerseys and hats to tumblers for game day, it's where outrageous selection meets every fan's style.
Kansas, Missouri, Kansas State, Chiefs and Royals make KC great. Rally House, Rally House. It's your city, it's your house, it's the Rally House.
Level up your fandom in-store or online at rallyhouse.com.
The weather is changing, so that means spring is here and baseball season is right around the corner. FanDuel is letting you choose your own reward for opening week. Betting customizations that transform how you experience baseball. I can't remember the last time that optimism was this high heading into the baseball season, and you're not going to want to miss the action with America's #1 sportsbook app, FanDuel. Make your choice, and the reward will be ready on your next MLB bet. FanDuel is the home for home runs, exciting plays, and now that you can choose your own reward for opening week, baseball just got more exciting. The Royals are making the playoffs this year. You saw how they performed in the World Baseball Classic, so get in on the action early. Are you ready to play your game? Head to FanDuel.com/local to choose your reward for MLB's opening week. FanDuel is an official partner of MLB and also 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Missouri. Opt-in required. Rewards are non-withdrawable. Restrictions apply, including bonus and total expiration, leg requirements, and max wager amounts. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
When Kansas City storms roll through, hail and wind can damage your roof without you even realizing it. If your home was hit, call us at Century Roofing for a free inspection today. We handle every step with your insurance company, making the process stress-free and easy for you. For over 35 years and more than 35,000 roofs, we've been protecting Kansas City homes. Let us protect yours. Trust the pillars of strength with KC-based and female-owned. Century Roofing, KC.com.
Century Roofing, trust the pillars of strength.
Did you know about 1 in 3 people with plaque psoriasis may also develop psoriatic arthritis, which causes joint pain, stiffness, and swelling? Does this sound like you? Listen to what it sounds like to be a million miles away. Tremfya guselkumab, taken by injection, is a prescription medicine for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who may benefit from taking injections or pills or phototherapy, and for adults with active psoriatic arthritis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Imagine being a million miles away. Explore what's possible. Ask your doctor about Tremfya. Visit Tremfya.com or call 1-800-526-7736.
T-Mobile has an exclusive bundle for customers 55 and up.
I'm Sarah Bowl.
Yeah, I'm Frank Bowl.
A reliable network is key for us. And with T-Mobile, it's been wonderful. And going to the 55 plus plan saved us so much money.
A lot.
And that's important. Trying to keep costs down. The home internet's been perfect. It's fast, it's quick. The setup was so easy, it took less than 15 minutes.
It was like, ta-da! If you want simplicity, coverage, reliability, you want the whole package, T-Mobile has it.
Right now, T-Mobile customers 55 and up can get 2 phone lines on America's best network, plus America's fastest 5G home internet for just $30 each. $30 per month each line with autopay plus taxes and fees. Minimum age 55. Pricing for home internet rely on 2 lines of essentials. Choice 55. $35 connection charge per line required. Best mobile network and fastest 5G home internet based on analysis by Oak Cliff Speed Test Intelligence data 2H 2025. All rights reserved.
Royals coverage brought to you by Metal by the Foot, your metal project superstore.
Who is the area's only dealer for Fronius professional welding equipment? Metal by the Foot, located in KC and Topeka. Online at metalbythefoot.com. When you need a piece of metal, remember, metal doesn't have to cost an arm or a leg, just the foot.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Hey, it's Scott Parks, and we've launched Beyond the Pitch KC, a podcast on how Kansas City landed the world's largest sporting event, presented by Commerce Bank. Visit commercebank.com/soccer26. Subscribe on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, we're just getting started on a Monday. Don't forget, this Friday, it is opening night for the Royals. They're on the road, taking on the Atlanta Braves. We will be out at Maloney's in downtown Overland Park. Looking forward to our watch party this Friday. Hang out with everybody here from 96.5 The Fan. Watch some Royals baseball. There also will be some Sweet 16 basketball games on the TV as well. So hope to see you guys out on a Friday night at Maloney. It's got a great rooftop there as well. Hopefully the weather cooperates with that. Otherwise, plenty of TVs inside as well. So looking forward to. We don't do a lot in downtown OP or Overland Park. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, closer, not
too
right
far,
around
not
the
too far
corner,
from
but
me. Yeah,
closer to your neck of the woods. Certainly. Should be a good night out there Friday night at Maloney's. So come out and see it. Of course, we're at Rally House on Friday. If you've got something during the day, you have a chance to win a $500 Rally House gift card when we're out there at Rally House in Independence on Friday. So we're all over town. Plus, we'll be at the stadium itself coming up for opening day against for the Royals on Monday. I'm excited about baseball. Hate the beginning part of the schedule layout. Hate that it opens on a Friday night. Hate that they only do a 3-day series and then they're back at home for only 5 games and then they're back on the road again. I don't like opening day on a Monday. It all feels wrong. I don't know.
Well, Friday night doesn't feel like opening day.
Home opener,
I'll give you that. Friday night doesn't feel like opening day at all.
Yeah, so the schedule's throwing me off a little bit, but that's okay. We'll get back to Royals baseball here in just a few minutes. You'd mention it, though. Your guy, Bill Self, was talking a little more glum, I feel like, after this one than I've heard him talk about in years. We obviously understand. I had asked you the question the other day, like, over under of years that Bill Self continues to coach at Kansas, and you said, I'd take probably the under 3 years. I don't think you would have taken the under half a year, and he hasn't retired yet.
Right.
But if you listen to him in postgame, he certainly sounds like somebody who sees the end of the line at Kansas coming. The question is, would he really seriously consider stepping away from Kansas now?
I mean, I think the answer is yes, he would seriously consider. Here's what he said.
Given what you've gone through on and off the court, how much time will you take to reflect upon what is next on this stage of your career?
Well, I haven't really gone through much on the court. You know, I've gone through some stuff off the court, so I'll get back and get with family and visit and see what's going on. I love what I do. I need to be able to do it where I'm feeling good and healthy to do it, fairly well. So I'll get back home and it'll all be discussed.
That's a different type of answer than we've ever really heard from Bill Self. Now, it makes sense. He had the health scare at one point during this season. Again, I told you, and I know there's a ton of negativity anytime you lose the way they did last night. And the fact is, they have not got out of the first weekend enough over the last 5 to 6 years. They also do have a national title mixed in there, but still, they have not gotten out of...
One Sweet 16 in the last 7 years is far too low for Kansas.
So for me, though, if Bill Self wants to keep coaching, it's a no-brainer. Like, this idea that they need to pivot from him is ludicrous to me.
I think there are Kansas fans who are ready to move on.
I think there are.
Surprising.
There definitely are. Is it the majority or the minority? I don't know. I see it on social media, which typically is a smaller fraction than we realize. But the health stuff is very much real. He has always said he's not going to be the guy that coaches till he's 75 years old. He's not going to be Rick Pitino coaching at 73. That even if he didn't have the health issues. But I think for the first time, there's a real chance. Now, I think we'll know pretty quick, Cody. There's a real chance that he does decide to step away. I will still right this second say he's not. But it's realer than ever, and the transfer portal, I think, opens up in 2 weeks. So given just the nature of college basketball and where you have to go and with recruiting and everything, I think we'll know by the end. I think by the end of this week, we'll know whether or not he is going to coach moving forward for KU. But he also acknowledged, we didn't have the full audio, but he also acknowledged that he's now going to look at coaching, and he does look at coaching in these like 2-year increments instead of viewing it as in 5 years from now. He's down to looking at 1 or 2 years at a time. And maybe that's what the answer was, that it's a year-by-year thing for him. That can be used against you in recruiting, as you know. Now, today's day and age, most players aren't hanging around for 4 years anyway, so I don't know if it matters as much if you aren't committing to be the coach in 4 years. But, yeah, it's something that should not stun people anymore if by the end of the week he decided to step away. Like that should not be a shock anymore with where we're at with him on a personal level and just where the college game is at maybe for him.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, look, at this point, it's clearly something he's considering. I don't know if he'll actually be able to. It's difficult because I always just imagine coaches at that level who have coached at that level would have a hard time choosing around a 32 loss to St. John's as being like the exit. Now, he doesn't have to prove anything. He's got multiple national championships. He's got all of his Big 12 titles. Like he doesn't owe to prove like I can still do this. But I could get where the game would be at a frustrating point. Look, I'm not drawing the line, and I saw the TV coverage too that said they haven't made it to the second weekend in the last 3 years. I also understand 4 years ago, as you pointed out, they won a national title. But I don't know that I wouldn't put it that the game has passed Bill Self by. I don't think that that's an accurate portrayal, but he has underperformed over the last 7 years, and that includes the title. Over the last 7 years, he has not done a good enough job at Kansas. Like, and I know that, like, I'm not saying he's done an awful job or it's miserable, but it's not up to snuff. It is not up to the normal amount of standard that they have put together at Kansas. One Sweet 16 appearance, even if it includes a title, is not enough over a 7-year time period. So, like, does he want to keep pushing the rock up the hill? And this goes back to, like, and we'll have the conversation if he actually walks away, who should be the coach of Kansas. The reason why I think we'll know quick is the same as you said. This is not like one of those jobs where they wait till August and then quit so he can give it to Jacques Vaughn. This is Kansas. He's not going to, like, just sneak his guy through. That'd be stunning unless there was, like, a major health thing, like, later on in the year.
Right. I think, the one thing that if he decides to keep coaching, that there has to be a realization on where you're at in college basketball, which is this idea that deep down, I think they need a true general manager around the roster. I know you can say that's crazy to ask a coach towards the tail end of their career to suddenly give up some of the control that a Hall of Fame coach has had. We've kind of discussed this with Andy Reid, right? Like, it's very easy on the outside to say, make these changes after you've been one of the more successful coaches in NFL history if you're Andy Reid. We had that very conversation about him. Similar thing here a little bit with Bill Self in today's day and age of college hoops. I think they need someone that has a more of a grasp on the roster. In addition to him, he should, of course, be involved in that. But I'm just saying they could use a true general manager around the program to help with some of the roster. They have consistently struggled to find guys that can make 3-point shots through the portal and that can help them and play that style moving forward. That's been a problem. And he is extremely loyal to his guys, and I think there's times where that hurts him. I'm not saying he shouldn't have backed up Darren Peterson throughout the year. I think he was absolutely right to do that, and especially that he had more knowledge of what was happening than we did, and we found out a week ago what was going on. But I'm just saying, you go back to the beginning of the season when even somebody like Cole Rosario was originally in the starting five, and Tiller has one great game against UNC, and suddenly he's the guy forever. He was the guy, and that, to me, that was one of the mistakes of the season as well. But if you're asking me just as a KU grad, I want Bill Self back next year, 100%.
I think part of that
100% I want Bill Self coaching this team next year.
I just think that's like a really, like, if there are, and look, again, it could just be social media, but if there's a large collection of Kansas fans who are like, nope, game's past Bill, not interested anymore, ready for fresh blood, boy, am I ready to prepare you for the lesson that Kansas fans haven't had to learn in a very long time. Because it didn't happen the last time, so they don't think it'll happen this time. And this is what I think happened is, let me assure you that you can easily get a worse coach than Bill Self. It's not even hard. Any of these guys you think might be better could easily be worse. You're out of your mind. But because they went from Roy to Bill Self, they're like, oh, no. And they might not. They might choose the right next coach, and things might be fine, Gold. They might actually be able to avoid it again. But you can choose worse. Let me assure you.
Of course.
That what you have in Bill Self can absolutely 100% be a worse hire than the guy you actively have right now. Look, I don't think Bill Self is the best coach in college basketball as it sits today. But I also don't think he's one of the, I wouldn't get him anywhere outside 10 or 15. Even if I was actively working pretty hard, I wouldn't get him outside of that. And so it's just this idea of maybe you want Otzelberger, or maybe you want, maybe you want to try to steal Hurley, or some of these guys who you're pretty sure will be as good, if not better, because of the job they're doing at their active program. And that's always the tough part about Kansas is there's nobody we can say on the list that is absolutely ludicrous to mention, because they can try to steal anybody. I don't know if they would convince some of these. I don't know if they would convince Tommy Lloyd to actually take the job. But I can tell you right now, you text him, you make him say no when you're Kansas.
Oh, there's a list of names. If it got to that point where Bill Self stepped away, yeah, you make Dusty May say no. You even make Dan Hurley say no. You make a bunch of guys tell you no before you
let him go get raises at all their other places.
Fine, yeah. I mean, you play that out. We'll see also what happens at North Carolina today or tomorrow. There's a lot of expectation there that they're going to move on from Hubert Davis, and so they're going to be playing in the same waters of the coaching. So that's also another element to this. For those of you that are wanting Bill Self to retire, I think it's a big mistake. I also think this is a bad quote-unquote off-season for that to happen. You don't want to be looking for a coach the same off-season that North Carolina and is also looking for a job. Like,
you don't want to be
KU
competing.
and North Carolina in the same offseason. That's not a good thing, I don't think, at all.
North Carolina, by all the things I just said about the Kansas hiring, same thing. Make everybody tell you no before you get down the list.
They did the opposite though. They just promoted Hubert Davis. Now he got to a national title game right away. Everybody thought, oh my gosh, this is going to be an unbelievable time. And since then, it's been completely downhill for North Carolina.
I got to say, it feels even though very different levels of programs, feels almost exactly what happened with Tang. Like, everyone was like, they found the next guy. They got it. It's here. We're good. And then they forgot that occasionally it takes more than 1 year to make sure that you got the guy. But we'll see what happens next.
We'll talk some more college basketball in 20 minutes. The rest of the Sweet 16 field, 0 mid-majors, but it's been a pretty damn good NCAA tournament. We'll explain why that's the case and some of the big-time upsets, including what Ben McCollum is doing now at Iowa. We all know what he did at Drake, what he did at Northwest Missouri State, and now he's doing it again with the Iowa Hawkeyes as the 9-seed Iowa Hawkeyes upset one of the number 1 seeds in the tournament, the Florida Gators. So we'll get to that in just a little bit. But as we said, Friday, man, Royals baseball underway. The 2026 season gets going, and they open up on the road in Atlanta. And it looks like they won't have to deal with Spencer Strider this weekend, as the Braves did announce that he's going to start the season on the IL. So if you don't want anybody to get hurt, but if you're just wondering, hey, pitching matchups and all that, every game does matter. That's 162 games, but no Spencer Strider. That's good news. You don't have to deal with him this weekend.
Also, if you happen to have already placed a Cole Reagan's to lead the league in strikeouts, Strider would be one of the people competing for that. So you help yourself in 2 ways. Look, I think just generally, and we'll get to some of our official, I know on Friday we'll give our official win total predictions and all this other stuff. I think from just the onset, first, it does feel weird. Like, it doesn't feel like a normal opening week yet, because they're going to open on a Friday on Apple TV, then we'll get the home opener on Monday and all the normal stuff. I fully expect a very, very front to back, from the start, competitive year from the Royals. I expect them to matter. Look, I'm not going to cite the standings to you at the end of April, saying they're in first place and say that that means the world. But I would like them to be in first or second place by the end of April, by the end of May, and be competing for that spot regularly, because this is the best roster they have had since, 16. I think you can fairly comfortably say. For the first time in any given year, I would say there's actively one major question, and it is left and right field. I think even if you consider what you can get out of center field and what you can get out of Isbell and Lane Thomas, maybe it's a slightly underperforming group compared to the rest of baseball, but it's not a major question mark. The only major question marks are left and right field. I happen to be very high on Cags this year, so that even seems less down. Other than that, they have the star power. They have the starting pitching. They have the depth in the bullpen. They have more reinforcements in the minors if needed in that location. This should be, and we should be walking into this year expecting big things out of the Royals this year. It should be you should be excited about baseball starting on Friday and that the Royals should be good. And I said that last year, and they were a good baseball team. They just weren't good enough. They came up short last year in a lot of ways.
Wow, it was very
coming
evident.
off the playoff year.
It was very evident a month into the season that the outfield was
They had a black hole.
was a massive problem for them. And so, as you guys know, the momentum killer of all is and a terrible April and a first week or two of the season where the team looks terrible and the bats are cold and all that, and it just kind of kills a lot of the vibe and the momentum that you have from an off season. And in this case, from even the WBC, with everything we've discussed with what Cags and Vinny did and Michael were able to do as the World Baseball Classic MVP, all that momentum goes away quick if all of a sudden we're on April 15th, as crazy as it sounds, but if the Royals are sitting already multiple games under 500 and if the offense is pitiful.
It's crazy because they can ride the high the other way, it feels like this team in particular.
Right, and the atmosphere out of Kauffman and the attendance and the energy in the city, if it's just the first 3 weeks of the season and they get off to a hot start, as in they're tied for first place in the AL Central
or they're a game back,
or whatever it may be, that can change everything. They've gotten, as we all know, off to terrible starts in April.
It's just hard because when you have this is the pressure that gets put on teams when you have someone like Bobby Witt Jr. And I don't really care the sport because I understand in baseball, the level of star power and what a star can do to impact the game is less than what the star can do to impact the game in football or basketball or these other sports. I feel immense pressure for this team because Bobby Witt Jr. is such a great player, Gold, that they should have immense pressure to be good. And I don't care because the clock's always ticking on just how many years you get with him, how many years he gets in the bigs. You don't want to squander years in which you have a player of the caliber of Bobby Witt Jr. You can't very well miss a lot of opportunities to take advantage of that and to be the kind of team that they need to be in this. I just feel like it's as complete as a small to mid-market can be. I understand they still have questions. I'm not Carlos Estevez' fastball is a question. Will Jack Caglione hits a question. Who's going to play left field regularly and do well? Can India be better? I can point out the 10 things. Is Seth Lugo going to rebound? That are going to point out the questions we have for the team. But they're about as complete as a small market team gets. They have star power. They have a guy who can compete for the Cy Young. They have a guy who can compete for the MVP. They have Vinny Pasquantino's top 20 in home runs last year. They have all the things good teams have, right? They have dominant bullpen arms. They have all the normal things you need to compete. You're right, though. There is this part of this, can you please avoid the sluggish April start from last year's team? Because that is legitimately, the sluggish April starts from some previous teams you were talking about. That was the difference between them being 62 wins and 71 wins. I didn't care.
Yeah, this can cost you the division kind of stuff this time around.
Yeah, sluggish starts is that it matters now. Those times you started in April before, you were just telling on yourselves oh, I don't have to care about this team. My problem this time is that it might be please don't let this cost you a playoff spot. Please don't let you cost winning the AL Central. And again, it doesn't mean you have to be the best record in baseball through the end of April. Be in it. Be near the top of the AL Central. Oh, God. Maybe because of how many times they shifted it. Does it feel like a different lifetime ago, MJ, Melendez, and Renfroe? That doesn't seem like the beginning of last year. I have put that so far in the rearview mirror. Gold, that feels like 5 years ago, Royals iterations.
Well, baseball season is just brutally long. So even, the first month that we're discussing now, by the time we get to middle of June, that's going to feel like a year ago as well. So, yes, of course. I mean, last April, May, and June feel like far more than a year ago. That's just imagine if you're a player, someone like Vern, who's there for every single game, how long a baseball season can feel. Now, if you're winning, it's fun. It doesn't feel as long if that's the case. But when you have certain weeks where you are struggling or your team is having a brutal season, those are just such long 2025 and 2024 baseball seasons at times when you're struggling like that. 24 probably doesn't feel as long ago in some of the moments in that season because they were a quality team. But out of the gate, by the way, the Royals open up against the Braves, and then they got the Minnesota Twins, and then the Milwaukee Brewers. That's how they'll open up the 2026 season. I'll get there, like you said, when we get to Friday. But in general, probably it's because we just wrapped up the first weekend of the NCAA tournament, and then the fact that the Royals are not opening up at home, the fact that it's a Friday night game instead of a Thursday afternoon game. I'll get there, but it does not feel like baseball is starting in 4 days.
You don't have that.
No, not at all.
Yet. I don't disagree, and it's probably my favorite sport, and so it's just the lead up to it, and some of it is some of the normal stuff I would have followed in spring training or paid attention to that was way on the back burner because I was paying very close attention, as you can imagine,
Fair.
to the World Baseball Classic. And so it stole some of the spotlight from like the Royals because you were watching Team USA or what Italy. And I know they were Royals players, but it wasn't them together. Look, maybe Vinny sending out the Six Flag photos again this year will get me back in the move. And I can't believe he called out. He straight up said Isaac Collins threw up on the roller coaster there at Six Flags down there in Texas. He's going to call out his own guy. I still can't imagine that Jack Caglione can be comfortable on and Vinny can be.
Well, there's
comfortable
one
on a roller
photo
coaster.
where he has to duck his head out of the way to get in the photo because the bar of the roller coaster is in the way or whatever.
I can't imagine
Roller coasters
they're
aren't comfortable to begin with, let alone if you're what is he, 6'6" or whatever it is?
I don't know if he's
6'5",
6'5", 6'4", something like
whatever. But that's
just a big guy. I mean, I just can't imagine like trying to get on a roller coaster at Jack Caglione's size
6'4",
or Vinny Pasquantino's size. Just seems like it'd be I'm borderline surprised that I'm surprised they're not height limits on some roller coasters.
Yeah, I guess he's not to that level. 6'4". I mean, if you were the kid from Florida, what was his name? Oliver Rue or whatever his name was.
Yeah,
that's
the freshman?
7'9".
7'9", yeah.
That's,
I did really.
I mean, he's not allowed to be on any roller coaster. It's not allowed.
Viral moments of the tournament. The 6'8" player
looking up
at him and being like, "How tall are you?" Like, he is 6'8". He is a ridiculously tall human being. He would look down like all of us as ants, most people. And he was looking up at him like, damn, dude, how tall are you?
7'9". I mean, we've heard the stories with Shaq and stuff in the NBA, and this is now, we're talking about a 7'9" dude, though. But when he travels, and like this is college, they're not staying at 5-star hotels. When Florida's chartering to Tuscaloosa to play Alabama in hoops, and they're staying at a random hotel there. Honestly, how does he sleep?
I don't know.
How does he sleep?
I don't think you do.
I mean,
Or
his
you figure it out, you
thigh,
get used to it.
his kneecaps hanging off the bed.
He's got to get a row to himself. And then when you get to the hotel, I guess everybody of that height must sleep like fetal position. They
That
must
sounds
sleep like
so
a baby.
uncomfortable at
That just
7'9".
I mean, you have to. But he's been used to it his whole life.
Okay.
He must sleep in the fetal position. There's no other possible answer.
The entire leg is off the bed.
And then you hope to one day make enough money playing basketball that you can buy the biggest, most customized size bed of all time. I just get I genuinely, there's nothing, even if you could promise me like the millions of dollars.
7'9" would be terrible.
It'd be an awful life.
Yeah, I agree.
If they're like, Cody, we're going to pay you $5 million a year, but you got to be 7'9" the rest of your life. I'm like, I think I might just have to figure out a different way to make money. I do not want to be and live in a body that is 7'9" for the rest of my life. It sounds miserable. The tasks, like even just the small stuff, just like
Someone said going to the urinal.
awful. No accuracy.
You're above. You're above the urinal.
Try to lean in for a kiss with your wife. You just pick her up, upsies. How do you even do it? It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare situation.
Picks her up, yeah.
Nightmares. Picks her up every time, dude. That's crazy.
Yep.
That's crazy. Every part of life is difficult. Every part.
Yeah, 7'9". I mean,
That's too tall.
It's one thing. You're 6'5". Like, you're tall, but okay. To me, I've told you
a couple of doors, but I think not every door.
Anytime you get above 6'5", and especially if you're not playing basketball, he's 7'9". He plays basketball at least. But if you start getting above 6'5", you're getting to that height range where it becomes almost too tall.
Yes.
Past 6'5".
Yeah, I think 6'8" or more.
I mean, even Wemby, and Wemby is also freakishly tall, but he's what, 7 foot?
7'2", right?
No,
7'3".
he's like 7'5" now.
Is he 7'5"? Okay.
Yeah.
He's still growing.
And this guy is 7'9".
Yeah, he's taller than Wemby.
He's taller than
7'4".
Cody out here dropping pituitary glands
Just making
references
sure.
on the show.
It's concerning to me that Wemby's getting taller.
Yeah, how does he drive a car? Convertible, I guess. Just got to go convertible all the time around Gainesville, Florida.
I mean,
can't. There's no other way. He can't be driving with his head
I assume
completely
you get
to the side.
I'm assuming you get you got a custom made vehicle where the seats sit as low, lower than they ever have. There's no back seats, so that your legs can actually reach the pedals. Again, every part of it would be a nightmare.
Yeah, not to mention people mentioning the health side of it, which is the sad part about it as well. Just being that tall, it's not healthy in terms of everything that ultimately happens later on in life as well. Anyway, crazy story with Florida. Not only they lost, but 7'9" player. And we're going to talk about the Sweet 16 field 0 mid-majors in the Sweet 16. What does that tell us about where college basketball is at, and what do we expect to happen later on this week? We'll get to that next here on Cody and Gold.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Bobby Witt Jr., and you're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
This baseball season, FanDuel's letting you choose your own reward for opening week, betting customizations that transform how you experience the game. So you can make your choice, and the reward will be ready to use on your next MLB bet. FanDuel, the home of home runs. Now that you can choose your own reward for opening week, baseball just got more exciting. So maybe you want to take a look at a bet for Vinny Pasquantino or Jack Caglione to hit a home run on opening night down there in Atlanta. And if you're ready to play your game, head to FanDuel.com/local to choose your reward for MLB's opening week. FanDuel, an official partner of the MLB. FanDuel Sportsbook's the official sportsbook of 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Missouri. Opt-in required. Rewards are non-withdrawable. Restrictions apply, including bonus and token expiration, leg requirements, and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Whether you're commuting to work or heading out for a fast coffee break, getting an auto insurance quote is just a tap away. With AAA, you're always connected, so you can focus on the road ahead. Rest easy knowing AAA's got you covered, no matter where life takes you. AAA, we're always with you. To start your quote, visit AAA.com/insurance. Insurance provided to qualified AAA members by Automobile Club Inter-Insurance Exchange and AAA affiliate insurers. Membership requires a separate payment.
Doug. There's nowhere I wouldn't go to help someone customize and save on car insurance with Liberty Mutual, even if it means sitting front row at a comedy show.
Hey everyone, check out this guy and his bird. What is this, your first date?
Oh, no. We help people customize and save on car insurance with Liberty Mutual together. We're married. Me to a human, him to a bird.
Yeah, the bird looks out of your league anyways.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Need to sell your house in Kansas City but not sure where to start? Selling a home can feel overwhelming, especially if you're facing foreclosure, a divorce, an inherited property you don't want, or just need to move quickly. But you don't have to figure it out alone. Rex Buys KC is here to help. As a local home buyer, I understand the Kansas City market inside and out. My family and I live right here, so I know the neighborhoods, the trends, and the challenges homeowners face. That's why I take a consultative approach, helping you explore your options and find the best path forward. We buy houses in any condition, no need for repairs, no agent commissions, and no hidden fees. You'll receive a fair cash offer with a closing timeline that works for you. Whether that's in as little as 7 days or at your own pace, just a simple, hassle-free process designed around your needs. If you're ready to talk through your options, call me today at 816-330-6000 or visit rexbuyskc.com. Let's find the right solution for you. Rex Buys KC. Local, fair, and focused on you.
Hop in a John Deere Gator XUV for a day's work. Let's see what's on the to-do list. There goes the tree. And the fence. Not a problem. Because you've got a cargo box filled with solutions. Up to 4,000 pounds of towing capacity. And you're ready to roll.
The power's out!
Here we go again. The Gator XUV, built for every kind of workday. Learn more at johndeere.com/Gator XUV. Nothing runs like a deer.
I'm Boomer Esiason. My mom died from cancer. She was only 37 years old. She didn't have life insurance, and that was devastating for my family. That's why having life insurance is so important to me. Ethos makes it fast and easy. Get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. You can get up to $3 million in coverage with no medical exam.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/play. That's ethos.com/play. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
As the seasons change, it's time to prep your HVAC system with a $49 seasonal tune-up from Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Rooter. A tune-up can help save money on your energy bill and help prevent expensive breakdowns. As your local home service experts, everything we do is backed by our exceptional service guarantee. Over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 five-star reviews adds up to dependable service from neighbors you trust. Visit callhamilton.com/radio for details, terms, and conditions.
Baseball is back. Opening night is one exclusive game, and it's live on Netflix.
On Wednesday, March 25th, the New York Yankees, led by 7-time All-Star Aaron Judge, head to the Bay Area to face Rafael Devers and the San Francisco Giants. A brand new way to watch Major League Baseball, and it all starts here. MLB opening night, Yankees vs. Giants, live on Netflix, Wednesday, March 25th at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific.
Hi, I'm Michael from the War and Treaty. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. Only Novo Nordisk makes FDA-approved Ozempic. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5 milligram, 1 milligram, and 2 milligrams.
Furnished by IntelliBrands.
Have you ever felt leg pain, restlessness, cramps, tingling, swelling, numbness, itchiness, or coldness? Then you need the new patented Legsercise Pro, the natural circulation booster that uses continuous automatic leg movement to soothe pain and promote healthy circulation the natural drug-free way.
Using Legsercise made walking painless again.
Legsercise Pro's patented walking simulator propulsion technology moves your feet back and forth along its concave track, creating constant movement and flex at both the knee and ankle joints. It's like having a physical therapist right in your own home.
I have much less swelling and no more tingling.
Call right now and order your very own Legsercise Pro, the new proven automatic leg mover that soothes pain and naturally promotes healthy circulation. Call 800-555-1212. That's 800-555-1212. 800-555-1212 now.
These statements and products have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or condition.
Vern's On Deck show for the Royals home opener against the Twins on March 30th starts at 2. First pitch just after 3. All right here on your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station.
11 o'clock hour here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. We'll get to the trash of the day in 20 minutes. We'll also talk some Chiefs football, of course, a half hour from now, including the Chiefs and free agency and whether or not we've just hit a lull, or is this are they done in the free agent period? Is there a random veteran signing still to come? There's still a couple names out there at the wide receiver spot. Juwan Jennings has not signed anywhere. Brandon Ayuk has not signed anywhere.
Nate Taylor over the weekend continues to mention Cam Jordan as a possibility.
Offensive line help. So we'll talk some Chiefs football in a bit. You guys can always interact on the Jays Southland Tow Service text line, 913-586-7965. We'll get back into KU and MU both losing in the opening weekend. Also, Bill Self acknowledging he is at least considering his future. But let's talk broader for a second. The entire Sweet 16 field is set for this upcoming Thursday and Friday. And I think the headline and certainly the conversation out of it is not only a couple of the upsets, Florida getting upset as a number 1 seed in Iowa. Big time upset. One of the bigger upsets we've seen in a while, with the one not making out of the first weekend, other than going back to Fairleigh Dickinson or something like that with Purdue. 0 mid-majors, though, are in the Sweet 16. We've got a double-digit seed in Texas, but they got one of the largest athletic departments in collegiate athletics.
Texas is not allowed to ever play underdog. They're Texas.
So they're not an underdog. They're not a Cinderella. It's only the second time in NCAA tournament history where the Sweet 16 is made up entirely of teams from the major conferences.
I hate that.
Second time. The first time was last year. Is this just where we're at? And by the way, I think people get very defensive when we say, like, hey, it's not what we're used to, or there's no Cinderellas, and then very quickly the college football and the college basketball diehards are like, how dare you criticize our tournament? No, the tournament has still been good, but we have to acknowledge it is not the same tournament that you and I grew up watching. It's just not.
So I have to accept. I agree with this sense. There are teams who have done surprising things who you can still root for as being surprising things, right? Nebraska never won a tournament game in their history. They're now playing in the Sweet 16. Iowa was not. They're actually going to play each other. Was not in any way. I thought they were a way worse team than I thought. I didn't think Florida beat them. I thought Florida would destroy them.
They were 10.5-point favorites.
And Iowa got the win. So I'm not even saying that there aren't teams to be like, yeah, we root for. But now the good teams, as in the better teams that can cause these upsets, are the teams like Iowa or Texas or Tennessee. These are major programs in major conferences. So I'm not trying to say there haven't been good games, but I'll be honest.
Oh, it's been great games.
The NCAA tournament's entire branding, in my opinion, was built around the idea that somebody can wear the glass slipper. That's the whole point, is that some team you've never heard of named George Mason or Davidson or whoever can make a run at least to the Sweet 16 or the Elite Eight or Loyola Chicago, and they can cause problems for these big schools and be like, you could play at any small city in the entire country and your dreams can come true. And in the NIL era, because everybody has very big budgets to pay players, therefore no players who are really good ever spend 3 or 4 years at small schools anymore, it sucked the life out of that a little bit. It kind of stinks, so I have to accept that the tournament is different now.
Yeah, and the top players at those schools that you mentioned, they're likely in the transfer portal, and they're going to go end up playing for Florida next year, or Kansas, or Kentucky, or wherever.
Or even if it's just like Tennessee or Michigan State.
It doesn't mean the tournament now stinks, but yeah, it's different. It's not the same. And I will say, though, now it sets up Thursday and Friday for some unbelievable matchups. I've told you the last couple of years, I love Cinderella, but by the time we get to usually the Elite Eight, not so much Sweet 16, I do want the top teams. And usually that is the big boys, because I think it sets up for an unbelievable basketball in the Final Four. In this case, it's going to be in Indianapolis. And now this year, it's setting up for some unbelievable games in the Sweet 16. We had some great finishes with Nebraska and Vandy, even though there wasn't the big-time upset in the mid-major ranks. It's just a different era. I mean, that has to be the truth. I mean, we can still have a first-round game where a High Point beats a Wisconsin or something like that, but the multiple High Point going to a Sweet 16, that kind of stuff, those are going to be less and less likely moving forward, and that's just where we're at with college basketball. And so there's going to be, I think, some casual basketball fans that are not going to like the tournament as much because of that, because that's what they liked about it. If you're someone that likes college basketball, though, and enjoyed watching it during the regular season, I think you should be thrilled that this is actually what we got, because it sets up for some really high-level basketball, and we saw it even play out yesterday.
There were really only like 3 mid-majors that made it anyway. It was SLU, right? Maybe more than that. VCU, SLU, High Point, but some of those were just straight ass kickings, right? Like a couple of them, like VCU wasn't anywhere close in the Illinois game, and by the time the SLU game, they were like in close ish in the early part of the second half, and then eventually they got the doors blown off too. So it's like it didn't even feel like they had a chance. There was like one that kind of flirted with it. It was probably High Point against Arkansas, which at least that game was close late, and it felt like it's there. You're right. I mean, I understand that come Thursday, I can appreciate the fact that anybody left can beat anybody. And that's that. I wouldn't always say that about a Sweet 16 matchup, even if I think it's a long shot. Arkansas can beat Arizona, right? And Houston and Illinois shapes up to be an awesome Sweet 16 game.
Alabama, Michigan. I mean, I understand Michigan's a 10.5-point favorite, but by the way, that seems crazy to me. I'll take Alabama plus the 10.5.
Same.
Thank you very much.
Especially now that we've gotten past even without their second leading scorer, they can play. And so I understand that, but it's going to take me a few years to just blindly accept that the NCAA tournament doesn't have mid-majors at getting the Sweet 16. That was always a great run for a mid-major. Yeah, every once in a while they'd find their way into an Elite Eight or a Final Four, and it'd be weird, and you'd be like, yeah, George Mason, you don't fit here anymore, and now it feels weird. You're right. By the Final Four, I didn't care when it was Duke, Kansas, North Carolina, and UConn. Whatever, it's the Final Four. But you used to get that part of the mid-major stuff, and that was it. I will say, easily, the most impressive win I thought of the entire weekend was Iowa.
Sure.
And not just because they beat the 1 seed. On paper, that is a severe mismatch for you. And look, when Florida started making that run to close out that 8 to 10 point lead, you're like, I don't know, Iowa. Can you hold on to this? Can you battle down to the last thing? Can you give yourself a chance to hit the shot near the final whistle to get yourself there? Of all the teams, I would have thought they had no chance to do it. Texas, I think you had Tennessee in your Sweet 16 anyway, so did I. That doesn't surprise me. But Iowa, I'm very impressed by the job Ben McCollum's done. He should be if Bill Self retires, He should be on the call list for Kansas.
Well, he's definitely on the list. Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm not saying he'd get hired for that.
He's on the list. If Bill Self decided to step away, he's one of 4 or 5 names I would be very interested in talking to if I were Kansas.
I don't know. You couldn't be.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand it seemed like a pretty big come up from like 5 years ago at Northwest Missouri State, and all of a sudden you're the head coach of Kansas. But, sometimes that happens.
It's weird.
Bill Self started at a small school.
Yeah, I agree with you on Iowa. I think the other team that deserves a lot of credit, even though you want to say, okay, they beat Gonzaga and it wasn't a number 1 seed. What Texas has done, going first 4 and out of the Sweet 16, and I know we've seen in the past even first 4 teams go on a bit of a run, but Texas is one of the hottest teams in all of college basketball, and Sean Miller's done a heck of a job here over the last 3 weeks heading into it, and they kind of came out of nowhere from 11 seed, and they get Purdue. Like I don't think you should count out Texas against Purdue either on Thursday night, and out of nowhere could Texas end up in an Elite 8.
The Gonzaga thing's interesting because they don't have their second best player. So I think Texas. That also is part of the conversation. Is Braden Huff has been out, he dislocated his kneecap, and Gonzaga also isn't as good. So I think the Texas thing, obviously, they won the game still. I do think it is interesting because we've seen more injuries pop up here where teams are missing their better players, and as a result, like Texas Tech suffered because they don't have JT Toppin. Gonzaga's second best scorer, who's also a big. Texas has more size. They took advantage of it, and Texas won.
What happens for Iowa State on Friday? We don't know if they're going to have Jefferson back. They've been fine to this point in time. They've been dominant actually to this point, but now big step up in competition. It's the last game of the Sweet 16, Friday at 9:00. Tennessee and Iowa State, and Tennessee's been impressive, but could Iowa State?
Iowa State's been impressive.
Yeah, I don't know if Iowa State can get a Final Four without Jefferson coming back though.
They won't be able to beat Michigan.
I think they need Jefferson to get to a Final Four. Doesn't mean they can't maybe win on Friday without him, but I don't think they can get there without Jefferson. I didn't think they would get there anyway, but you're right. They're playing some really good basketball, and I think TJ Otzelberger was asked about his status, and he's getting like another MRI, and they'll see. Like right now, it doesn't feel like they're all that confident that Jefferson's going to play, but they have till Friday at 9:00 to get that ankle right, if in fact it's doable.
They got plenty of time. That's, I guess, the ability to get to the second weekend, which certainly doesn't hurt. I mean, you're right. I mean, again, the matchups will be, it's a lot of 1 versus 4s, 2 versus 3s, it follows the seed line pretty close, so it should be kind of manageable.
Like some football matchups, Iowa, Nebraska, Alabama, Michigan. It's like a CFP or a dream CFP if you're a Nebraska.
It'll be interesting with Alabama. They haven't played a team that's good as defense as Michigan all season, so they can score. But if Michigan are maybe the most balanced team in the country, so that'll be interesting.
They're the biggest underdog, Alabama is, of the entire Sweet 16 as far as point spread goes.
Really? Even more than I would have thought Duke St. John's was
No, Duke's only a 6.5-point favorite.
St. John's will grind that game out.
Alabama's a 10.5-point dog. Michigan State's a 1.5-point underdog to UConn. Tennessee 4.5 to Iowa State underdog. Illinois is a 3.5 dog. Arkansas is an 8.5-point underdog to Arizona.
Okay, Arkansas, that one doesn't surprise me. Arizona's looked like the number 1 seed for a huge chunk of it. It's been a fun tournament so far. I just wish we had Cinderella stuff. We've gotten a couple of good games, and the first round, it's so crazy. Last Thursday made us be like, you know what? I don't know, man. Maybe they still got some juice left in this Cinderella part of the tournament. Oops. And then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday absolutely took a hatchet to that.
I think that to that point, though, I think that they haven't had the wins, and maybe that's what people are freaking out about. We've had like 7 or 8 teams that have been in the game in the second half, deep into the second half. I think that's where
I know, but that feels real participation trophy. Good
no,
job, High Point. You were close. We did that for the Elite Eight.
Yeah, but I think that's the story of the tournament where these players are so good now that they're able to perform better in the clutch. Where you look back in years past, and the whole clutch factor idea of everything is why these mid-majors were actually winning the game as the pressure gets to the bigger teams and they end up faltering and they fall apart. Like Iowa was better than Florida for basically the entire game yesterday. But if you look at Siena led Duke with 5 minutes left to go in the game. They didn't win, but Siena led Duke with 5 minutes left in the game. That game was incredible. You look at Wright State, they were up against Virginia late in the game. I understand they didn't win the game.
And teams used to win those games. That's the problem.
Yeah, but I don't think you can just chalk it up to, well, the NIL is different, so that's the difference. I think it's way more beyond just chalking it up to name, image, and likeness, because players have been getting paid for a very long time, and I think if anything, if you want to blame anything, it's more of the portal and that sort of thing with how things have unfolded than it is name, image, and likeness. I think that The idea that name, image, and likeness has killed the Cinderella, I think, is a little crazy to me with the competitiveness that we've seen.
But they're
through this
connected,
tournament.
right? I mean, the transfer portal
is a bigger deal because of
a
name,
player
image,
is
and likeness.
leaving a school and is because of money in large part, right? I mean, that and which is NIL is behind that. So I think NIL is the driving force behind why the transfer portal has accelerated the way.
But that to me is not killing the Cinderella, because I just saw a 16 seed almost beat a 1 seed for the third time ever. And
Almost, though. Again, it's the same thing.
But something is.
I understand.
So
it, but,
what is killing
but in the name, image, and likeness era, Fairleigh Dickinson beat Purdue. In the era, in name, image, and likeness, St. Peter's went to the Elite Eight. So I don't, you cannot, I think
2 years in a row, though, the Sweet 16 is nothing but power conferences.
I understand that, but I think that people get irritated. Like, honestly.
This is what I mean by like the diehard college football, college basketball fan get offended if anybody criticizes anything about their tournament.
No, you can go ahead and criticize it, but if High Point beats Arkansas, and let's pick one of these teams. If High Point beats Arkansas, and let's take one of. All right, you know what? Fine.
No,
you guys don't want to hear what I have to say, and it's fine. Go ahead.
No, I understand.
Go
like
ahead.
the one wouldn't change it. I guess for me, Drew, is the issue. I guess like what I'm saying is after, and like I still think it's too early to fully know if NIL and the transfer portal has killed it. But I do think that it's kind of like the way we talk about the draft. After 2 or 3 more years of this, I don't want to hear about what happened in year 1 or 2 of NIL, because I think that would have been in the infancy of it beginning, and I don't think that tells the whole story on like where it is. But I mean, something is shifted in college sports.
Hey, well, I didn't hear. Hey, I wasn't young enough. Maybe you guys can tell better than I was. But this happened in 1999. I don't think anybody was complaining about this in 1999. I don't think anybody was complaining about it in 1993.
Wait, what happened in 1999?
No mid-majors made it to the Sweet 16. It's the 4th time ever that it's happened. I don't know if anybody's complaining. I was too young to know, or I wasn't alive. In 1999, the same thing happened. I don't know if there was any complaining at all. But I think that if you take if you take High Point to the Sweet 16 and you say McNeese actually took down Vanderbilt, I think we're not having this conversation as deeply as we're having it. But the basketball has been incredible, and I think the double-digit seeds have also played very good basketball. And I think it's also, if you look at the blowouts, it's not just a mid-major thing. Hofstra actually played Alabama better than Texas Tech did. Hofstra was down just 5 points with 5 minutes left to go in the game. I think the sport has gotten so good and the talent has gotten spread out where the talent might not be as stuck on one mid-major than other teams. It's spread out so much where there's a lot of really good mid-majors. And in the end, the major teams, which are supposed to win anyways, are actually winning. I think people are just really mad that we're not getting the upsets. And they'd rather see an upset of one team winning than see 5 really good games with double-digit seeds where they might not win, but the basketball is still really good.
I don't know. It just feels unsatisfying.
I think it's because people want the upset. They don't care about the basketball game being good or not. They would rather see the upset.
Well, that's how we started the segment.
Which is totally fine.
I think the casual fan just wants the upset. The diehards are going to be the diehards.
I also think there was plenty of bad.
I don't think you have to be a diehard to like
it.
Yeah, but again, those weren't mid majors though. We're again, Texas Tech got throttled by Alabama. That game was over by halftime. That's a 5 seed against a 4 seed. So I think that the casual fan can also enjoy a good basketball game. I think we get so wrapped up in the upsets and all these other things that we can't even enjoy a good basketball game because the sport of basketball is the way that it goes. A mid-major loses by 10 or 12 points when they were in the game all the way up until like the 3-minute mark. I think we've kind of lost the enjoyment for a good basketball game just because the mid-major team didn't.
It's also
end up
just
winning.
tough because, for me, a good basketball game is not just it was close. Like Kansas and St. John's, that was not a good basketball game. It was a good ending. That game was awful to watch.
Yeah, and it had no mid-majors.
30 minutes.
It was rough basketball. That's also the style that both teams play.
I'm just saying, I think this, because Bink and I go back and forth on this with college football as well. I think, and this is fine, and everybody has a differing view of it based on the teams that they root for or don't root for. I'm just saying, I think people, and you're a diehard college football and diehard college basketball fan. I think anytime someone is critical of the sport, everybody, especially if it involves the mid-majors or the smaller schools, because the same thing. I mean, we talk about college football, and it's like, Drew, we'll go back and we'll talk about, you'll bring up Tulane or Missouri State or whatever. I think you're very much sticking up for the little guy on the college football and college basketball. So anytime someone wants to claim that, like, this is not happening anymore with a mid-major, I think that you very much want to protect that is still a thing,
I think
that it's not to blame.
I think both sports are completely different, though, because we have not seen Tulane in the game late against Ole Miss. We did not see JMU in the game late against Oregon. We did not see Boise State in the game late against Penn State. I think that's totally different where we see...
But is that just a volume thing? There's just more college... Because, you're mentioning the high point one.
No,
Three
it's
of the
not.
other mid-majors got their ass kicked in the round of 32.
Yeah, and how many majors have gotten their tails kicked in this tournament as well? I think
Plenty.
Again,
I'm just saying,
so I think that it is with college football. If you put a 64-team field and you included as many mid-majors in college football as you did college basketball, you would not get a single college football game, maybe 1 or 2, 3, 4, that were as good as the 6, 7, or 8 mid-major games that we had. Because college basketball, because basketball is just a different sport. I think it's so different because we haven't seen a mid-major compete to the level where. If you want to bash the Tulane's getting in, fine. I think it makes more sense than you should be on saying the NIL's killing Cinderella, because these teams are close late in games where we just haven't seen that in college football, at least from the CFP standpoint.
All right, let's get to the trash of the day.
Trash of the day.
All right, this one's local. Cody, have you bought your daughter a Barbie anytime soon?
It's been a little while. I mean, not zero.
Where do you buy them at?
I don't know. Target. Who knows?
You ever bought them from a discount store?
I have not. At least not at this point.
Not anymore?
Not anymore.
Well, there was a story.
I
had multiple people send me this and say I should do it for Trash of the Day. I had not seen the story until a few people DM'd me over the weekend, and they said, this should be Trash of the Day. I said, okay, fine, deal. So here we are. You may have seen the story. Fentanyl was found inside Barbies, sold at a Missouri discount store. Yeah. Independence Police Department said they were contacted by security at Cargo Largo, which is a local discount store.
Sure.
And they found a suspicious powder substance in the packaging
and it was
of a Barbie doll. Tests determined the substance was fentanyl.
Well, somebody got that shipment through.
5 contaminated Barbie packages had been sold. Hours later, all 5 had been recovered. So fortunately, they were able to
find the person who purchased it?
Yeah. There's no reason, the police said there's no reason to believe compromised units were sent to other retailers. No injuries have been reported. But they still haven't said how they thought this happened.
Well, I assume somebody was sending a shipment of Barbies through and thought they could send their drugs with it too. Clearly worked, by the way. They probably picked up their packages, moved on, and maybe you got a little bit spilled. That's just one of those. Look, I'm not a litigious person, but I can promise you right now, you sold me a Barbie doll with fentanyl on it, you will be hearing from my lawyer. Quickly hearing from my lawyer. I want to own a Cargo Largo by the end of this thing. You're not just off the hook selling my kid fentanyl at the store. We're not, we're coming after you. If that's the case, that's also crazy. Crazy. I don't think I've ever thought about even being afraid of that. Picking up a toy for your kid? Feels like a pretty low risk situation.
I had never heard of Cargo Largo.
I've been to one once. Been a long time though. But I've been once. Look, I don't need to take it out. It's probably not this store's fault. It's probably just whatever employee or person in whatever distribution camp, or who knows how far down the chain this thing goes.
How much are we talking? Someone's like, yeah, Cody, sue Barbie, not the local store.
I mean, is Mattel? Am I going to be able to win a lawsuit against them in this
situation? Find out who distributed it and go up the ladder.
Don't worry. Multiple lawsuits. We're getting.
Cody's just going to sue everybody now.
I might not even turn the Barbie back in. It might be turned in as evidence. I might have that in the police station.
Well, the police did confiscate.
Yeah.
They got to figure out where the heck the fentanyl came from.
Can you trace it back like that? How's that work?
I don't know.
How far down the distribution chain can you go to try to figure out?
They got to find out who shipped the Barbies to the Cargo Largo. Did it happen there? Did it happen from an employee? Who knows? That was a crazy story that I had multiple people send me.
Good for security for catching it. It said the security at the store is the one who noticed the problem. Discovered taped inside the back packaging of the dolls. No reason to believe. So, it's not even they found, somebody just straight up did not pick up their package.
Well, that's what I'm saying. This was, someone was using the Barbies to to distribute or whatever, and somehow they didn't pick up.
Figure out how to pick, or they just worried too much heat on him?
I don't know, man. I'm not sure. That's the trash of the
crazy.
day.
That's a totally different night for Barbie.
Up next. Yeah, up next.
I don't think they make that kind. They make a Barbie of every kind. I don't think they make fentanyl Barbie.
Yes, I think that's fair to say. Up next, let's get to the Chiefs Red Half Hour, and we are a month away from the NFL Draft in Pittsburgh, and our friends Jay Binkley and Chris Sunocero and the Character Concerns crew have a brand new mock draft out. We'll take a look at that.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Vinny Pasquantino, and you're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Are you ready to celebrate Truck Month? Well, it's going on right now over at Shawnee Mission Ford. So whether you're looking for a truck or maybe a Ford Bronco, I've been driving the Bronco for the last month and a half or so, and when the weather has been nice, it has been awesome to be able to take the top of the Bronco off and take advantage of everything the Bronco has. But you guys know I also love driving that F-150, whether it was back in August or the hybrid F-150 that I was driving in the fall months as well. And right now, there are 25 F-150s that are going at 0% for 60 months. 90 days, in fact, till your first payment. Plus, still the large discounts and the no-charge lifetime warranty. And don't forget about the Ford Maverick as well, which now has $3,000 off MSRP. Head over to Shawnee Mission Ford during Truck Month. Take home that truck you have always wanted now till the end of March. Shawnee Mission Ford is on a mission to do more in 26.
When the cold sets in across KC, AB May is the trusted name for keeping your home warm, safe, and secure. From furnace repairs to system replacements, we deliver reliable solutions and unmatched care and professionalism. Whether it's a sudden breakdown or routine maintenance, AB May is here to help. Trusted by generations of Kansas City homeowners, we're committed to doing things the right way every time. Call AB May at 913-732-9993 or visit us at abmay.com.
Call your serviceman from AB May.
Calling all college hoops fans. Make your next bet during March matchups at BetMGM go even further with an odds boost token. Simply add any tournament bet to your bet slip and activate your odds boost token. If that bet hits, you'll walk away with a higher payout for a tournament full of unforgettable moments. BetMGM is your sports book for all of it. Enjoy same-game parlays, live betting through all your favorite games, dark mode, and so much more during March matchups. And when there's a break in the tournament action or you're looking to switch things up, check out daily promotions and offers for all your favorite sports. Don't miss your chance at a bigger March matchup score with BetMGM. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards vary and expire in 7 days. Please gamble responsibly in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Feeling the heat? Don't sweat it. Turn to Comfort Systems Heating and Cooling. With temperatures rising, now's the time to make sure your AC is ready to keep you cool. Whether it's your home or your business, Comfort Systems services both residential and commercial systems across the Kansas City area. Call today for a fast tune-up, repair, or a system upgrade so you can stay cool all summer long. Family owned and operated since 1990. Comforting people is what we do. Comfort Systems is right for you. MyComfortSystems.com.
Well, we finally made it. It's spring, and I have spring fever. I love getting outside and cooking on the flat top or the grill, and Hy-Vee has the best meat department in KC. They've got the freshest, top-quality cuts of corn-fed beef from the Midwest and the best prices in town. They also have bacon-wrapped chicken breast and stuffed pork chops, plus the fresh seafood we love at home. Make it a meal with a twice-baked potato. It's the best meat department in town. They've got the steaks, they've got the chicken, they've got the seafood, and you can get it only at Hy-Vee.
3, 2, 1. It's mid-March, and Kansas City is crazy about college hoops. Pick your bracket, call your friends, and count on Hy-Vee for all your game day snacks. Hy-Vee makes your watch party easy with a huge selection of ready-to-serve party trays, boneless wings, barbecue, sushi, pizza, and fresh bakery goods. Order ahead through the Hy-Vee app, online, or at your favorite store. Even if your bracket is a bust, your watch party will be a winner only at Hy-Vee.
Low testosterone can be a real problem for many men. It causes poor sleep patterns, decreased energy, low sex drive, and it makes it really hard to stay in shape. And as we all know, a healthy body is very important to our overall health and well-being. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if some or all of these symptoms sound like you, we can likely help you be done with low T. We can also help you lose weight, support your metabolism, improve your gains in the gym, and more with our new targeted body composition plans featuring GH peptides, NAD+, GLP-1s, PDA, and more. Our low T protocols, applied in conjunction with our body composition plans, will help most men see real improvements, true weight loss, higher energy, improved sleep, stronger workouts, and a renewed sex drive as well. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on treatment the same day, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
Future therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
My car smells fresh, so fresh, always so fresh every day. My car smells fresh, so fresh, like I cleaned it yesterday. Got that Febreze car on the vents, living life with that just clean freshness. Febreze car, if you know, you know. Up to 40 days a scent on low. My car smells fresh, so fresh, always so fresh every day. My car smells fresh, so fresh, like I cleaned it yesterday. That's right, breathe happy Febreze, la 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 la.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
If you're only good to your new friends, you're not going to have any old ones. Straight Talk gets it. That's why new and existing customers get free 5G phones on Verizon's 5G network. Pretty simple, really. You keep good people by being good people.
Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Taxes and fees apply. Plan purchase required for free phone offers. Copyright 2026 Verizon.
Baseball is back. Opening night is one exclusive game, and it's live on Netflix. On Wednesday, March 25th, the New York Yankees, led by seven-time All-Star Aaron Judge, head to the Bay Area to face Rafael Devers and the San Francisco Giants. A brand new way to watch Major League Baseball, and it all starts here. MLB opening night, Yankees vs. Giants, live on Netflix, Wednesday, March 25th at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific.
Brought to you by Kalshi. Trade on anything. March matchups are here, and now you can trade the tournament in all 50 states on Kalshi. Trade game outcomes, spreads, and more on top seeds and potential Cinderella stories. For a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use code FAN to get $10 when you trade 10. Kalshi. Kalshi. Trade on anything.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Hey, it's Scott Parks, and we've launched Beyond the Pitch KC, a podcast on how Kansas City landed the world's largest sporting event, presented by Commerce Bank. Visit commercebank.com/soccer26. Subscribe on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome in to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Every day at 11:30 with Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
It is the Chiefs Red Half Hour, brought to you by Leavenworth PD. Be a cop, be yourself, build your career at Leavenworth PD. Applied today at leavenworthks.gov/police. We will get to a mock draft as our friends Jay Binkley and Christian Osero came out with the latest Character Concerns mock draft. Bink will actually be in on Thursday as well, so I know we'll talk more draft with him. But we're a month out, man, so we'll get to that in just a little bit. Of course, the video stream is up and running on Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, and X. You guys can watch the show and always subscribe on YouTube. That way you get alerted anytime the shows are live, no matter what show it is here on 96.5 The Fan. And then you can always interact on the Jay Southland Tow Service text line, 913-586-7965. We'll get back to college hoops as it pertains to Kansas, an early exit with their loss, Mizzou losing their opening round game, Bill Self's future in question, all that coming up in the noon hour. But let's talk a little Chiefs football. And it was quiet last week, and is it just going to be quiet all the way up until the draft? I mean, this is what we call the fourth wave of free agency now?
Yeah, I mean, we're weeks and weeks into this thing at this point. And yeah, I was just trying to decide, are they shutting it down until the draft and then they'll backfill? Or is there still one more move to be made? I think the surprising part about that is you'd think they'd want one more corner and one more defensive lineman no matter what they do in the draft at this point. And yet it's been, and maybe a wide receiver, and yet it's been kind of crickets for the Chiefs over the last few days. I've seen some other small moves around the NFL, nothing major, but ones here or there, Gold, in which it seems like, sure, things are moving in a good direction. I feel like they must have a move this week, as a matter of fact. This like Cam Jordan stuff from Nate Taylor over the weekend, there has got to be something. Maybe it's not as big as Jawan Jennings. That would be surprising. But they absolutely have to do something before the draft. They can't just sit on their hands for a month and say, let's solve wide receiver defense. Let's just see what we solve and then backfill. I don't know what'll be left by the time that comes around if they wait that long.
I just think now that we're in the later waves of free agency, there's not like a real timeline of when it has to happen. I think now you're in the wave where anybody can truly just sign whatever. It's not like the first week where every day you're worried about the next guy is going to sign. Now some of these vets that have been on the market for a little while, they're gonna also step back and be a little bit more patient. Everybody's going to consider what the path might be a bit more, and there's no rush. Like I think, yes, Cam Jordan is an intriguing name, Jawan Jennings, whoever. They will end up signing another veteran defensive lineman. They will end up bringing in, I think, another veteran receiver at some point. So whether that's today, whether that's a week and a half from now or 2.5 weeks from now, I don't know if it really matters. It doesn't. But this is normally when it is quiet. I mean, this is the lull now that you had the initial rush, and there's still some names out there that are intriguing. And so I don't think anybody should be panicking. They haven't signed another veteran lineman. They're going to.
My fear is that if they don't do it soon, then they are going to just like bring back Mike Dana on a deal. And I'm just going to be like,
I don't know.
I don't really want to go down that road again. And some of their recent moves, and maybe we can talk about this more, have indicated that maybe that's not the pathway or plan that they're going with. And so like I'm not saying, again, they have to make every move under the sun or anything outside of there, but there are still good pass rushers available to them. And I wouldn't hate to see them still like get involved in either the corner, defensive end, or wide receiver market to the point that you can still make different choices in the draft. Because if they do nothing, they have to take, and they might still have to, but like there's no choice but to take a defensive lineman with one of the first two picks. Someone has to start at corner. Right now, they still don't even technically have the numbers. They don't have the numbers at wide receiver. They don't have the number at corner. They don't like to the point, Gold, and the numbers at defensive line. To the point is, defensive line might be the closest they have to if they had to play, would they physically have enough bodies if we include either pick 9 or 29? Yes. At wide receiver, they're 4 short at the position. At corner, they're 3 bodies short. So, like, I would think something has to happen. I guess I'd just be a little bit surprised if they didn't, just knowing that they just straight up don't have the numbers.
No,
yet.
but there's, as you said, I mean, Cam Jordan is still up there. I'm not interested in them signing Calais Campbell, given the age, but he's still out there. Someone on the text line, our guy Micah, texting in about Christian Wilkins. He's an interesting name. We talked about him during the season last year. Nobody ended up signing him. Adam Schefter kind of sparked this again late Friday by mentioning how he's eyeing a return to the league. There was that whole bizarre locker room thing that happened and disagreement on injury rehab out in Vegas. And speculation about what occurred there that maybe scared some teams off for a variety of reasons. But Christian Wilkins, if you believe the Adam Schefter report, is saying 26 teams have reached out and are waiting for Wilkins to be, quote, ready. And he's expected to have a new home as soon as he wants. So is he still rehabbing that ankle injury? What's going on there? But he's a name that would be a much later signing. Could be post-draft, by the way. And he's someone I would be interested in considering as a veteran, low-cost option for Kansas City, too.
I just think going into it, I'm not saying they have to solve all of their roster before the NFL draft. I just think they'd want at least one more corner and one defensive end and kick around the wide receivers. Doesn't mean they have to, but I'd be surprised if they just do nothing, I guess. They still got the cap space. I think it's around $20 million. Nothing's really changed in that. And I understand they need, because of where they're picking, I don't know, $7, $8, $9 million or something to sign their potential draft picks. It's probably not cheap this year, knowing that you got 2 first-round picks and a bunch of others. You know, the 9 picks you have in total.
Yeah, I mean, I get like the, hey, want to have it happen now kind of thing. But I just think, I don't disagree that they need to sign 1 or 2 of those positions. I just think they will, and they have a month to, and maybe more to do that. The Christian Wilkins thing, to continue talking about that, Adam Schefter had the report that multiple teams, 26 of them, have called. And we've had Nate Taylor on to talk about this before. And then one of Schefter's colleagues over with Giants Nation Radio was on a radio show and said, quote, whatever happened in that locker room with Christian Wilkins, I don't know exactly what it was, but on top of the injury part, it sounds like it's going to be a tough one for him to overcome. even if it's Dexter Lawrence pushing the Giants to sign Wilkins, who was one of his best friends at Clemson. It doesn't sound like that's one where it's going to be easy to bring him into your locker room. Then Vic Tafur over at The Athletic said that no one can disclose what Wilkins did for, quote, legal reasons. He didn't elaborate on whether that's a reference to the NFLPA grievance or if there's a legal issue with the locker room incident. You and I have said, I think when Nate was in studio, there's speculation about maybe what occurred. I think people can Google around and see what the rumors may or may not be. It makes a lot of sense. If it's taking as long as it has, you're like, okay, I can see why that might be a question for some team. I'm not saying it should be a question, but why it might be a deterrence and why he hasn't been signed. I think, can the guy play football? That's all I care about. Can he play football?
Usually that's
all that should matter.
And stay out of trouble, right? But that's also part of it.
Yeah.
But it's, look, and I just, the text line's like from the 816, we're talking about these older pass rushers.
Mm-hmm.
Can the Chiefs not sign a player on AARP? I'll point out, as it sits right now, the Chiefs are one of the youngest teams in the NFL. And are poised, I would tell you, to continue to be, over the next few years, one of the youngest teams in the NFL. Because they're getting ready to take 9 players, hypothetically, in this year's NFL draft. They're younger than you think. I think you are accustomed to what they were over the last couple of years, which was a little bit older on the roster end. But they shaved some of that weight. And so, at the moment, they are not a particularly old roster. They are, think about their defensive line. They got a guy who's just getting through his rookie contract in George Karlaftis. Chris Jones is older, but everyone else is on like year 2 or 3. They're all very young. All their wide receivers are on rookie contracts. Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, Tyquan Thornton's in his mid-20s. Like, they're all young. Like, I think you see Travis Kelce, the problem is the pillar. You see Travis Kelce, Chris Jones, and you're like, old. Yeah, that can't be right. They must be old. No, their best players are still old.
No, the roster's not old, but I still don't want them going and signing 41 or 2-year-old Calais Campbell. I mean,
I think that's more because like you and I are in a similar boat where like we don't know 26 versus 27, and signing a 42-year-old is a very much this year move.
Totally.
But it's also
even signing Cam Jordan, although I guess, do people think Cam Jordan at 37? Is he getting a multi-year deal?
Probably not. But maybe you could bring him back for a second year. My thing is that I also, because of the developmental end, understand that at defensive line, you need a lot of different people. It doesn't have to stall the growth of the pick you take at number 9 overall just because Cam Jordan's there. It's just making sure that person doesn't have to rush their way through. They might also just be really high in Omar Norman Lott.
That is another mock draft sounder. We kind of alluded to it, Drew. Bink and Chris Inocero got a new mock draft out late last week.
I got a text on, I think it was Friday, from Jay Binkley. Hey, man.
Just letting you know?
This is our mock.
He'll be in on Thursday as well, so we'll talk to him more about it. But all right, did they do a full mock? What did they do?
Yes, they did a full mock. Every single pick for the Chiefs in this mock draft. Some notable things, more at the position side, I would say, than anything else. But at number 9, they have him taking Mekhi Lemon, wide receiver, of course, out of USC. And then in the first round, at the end of it, TJ Parker, edge rusher from Clemson.
Okay. That's
a new name for us on the show as far as in our mock. I don't think, have we had a mock that has had TJ Parker yet?
I think maybe the last character concerns mock might have had TJ Parker.
There might have been 1 or 2, yeah.
Maybe we didn't talk about him, but maybe their last mock had TJ Parker.
Defensive end out of Clemson.
How long are his arms? Immediate question.
Well, Bink wouldn't have had him in his mock draft, I don't think, if the arms were a question, right? I mean, I think that answers our own question right there pretty quick. As far as TJ Parker, again, that's a name I haven't heard. Long arm rush.
33 and an 8.
Yeah, Cody. Long arm rush can absolutely devastate tackles when he times it right, rolling them backward into the quarterback's lap and collapsing the pocket. Ball stripping ability is elite, not coincidental. 6 forced fumbles in 2024. Weaponizes his hands, according to NFL Draft Buzz, at the point of attack with violent striking, active counters that leave offensive tackles grasping at air. Sets firm, immovable edges against the run. Shows legitimate flexibility dropping into zone coverage. Comfortable carrying backs and tight ends into the flat without looking stiff or lost. Weakness. Not going to win many foot races to the corner. His get off is solid, but not special.
It sounds like he should be picked higher than 29, I'll be honest.
Yeah, what the hell's he available at 29 for? They got a lot of nice things to say about One TJ Parker.
Here's the thing. It says he needs more tricks in the bag. When tackles absorb his initial charge and sit down on him, he doesn't have reliable counters to keep them guessing.
Okay.
And his tackling in the open field gets loose. This is a good one from the NFL Draft.
So
Post
who else?
today.
Yeah, this is a good one. All right, Drew, who else do they have? Mekhi Lemon, this very interesting TJ Parker. Who do they have in round 2?
Christian Miller from Georgia, defensive interior lineman. We've had
I've seen him near the bottom of the first a couple times.
We have talked about him before.
Okay.
He's been in mock drafts. Max Clare, tight end from Ohio State in the 3rd round.
Max Clare?
Yes.
KLR?
KLARE, I think.
Yes.
Okay.
And then Will Lee, the 3rd, really highly touted recruit, actually, in the 4th round at corner from Texas A&M. To put a bow on the rest of the mock in rounds 5 and 6. Michael Toffee, safety from Texas. Wide receiver Kevin Coleman Jr. From Missouri, of course. Tyron Montgomery from D3. John Carroll.
D3?
Wide receiver in round 5. And then Devontae Smith.
They get Devonta Smith in the 7th?
Cornerback from Notre Dame
Is he on the trade
in
block?
round 6.
Wait, there's a corner with the exact same name as the wide receiver?
Yeah, Devontae Smith from Notre Dame.
Max Clare, the tight end.
Is he good? I don't know anything about the
Mid-round pick, tight end depth.
Solid.
Tight end depth.
They got Travis Kelce in the 3rd round, so
I don't
jackpot.
know. I mean, he's solid. I don't know if he's the guy that, like, compared, like, from the freakishly athletic tree of, like, Michael Trigg, Kenyon Sadiq. Like, if you're going to get somebody in the later rounds that you think could be a guy that turns into, like, a Okonkwo or somebody like that, then Michael Trigg is the guy that you're looking for from Baylor, not necessarily.
Cody
Max
already
Clare.
giving a Kelsey comp. Did you know that Max Clare grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio?
Wow, grew up in Ohio, taken in the 3rd round. What?
His dad was a nose guard at Boston College. His cousin, grandfather, and 2 uncles all suited up at the college level. This is why Bink has him on. This is why Bink has him in the mock draft. We found the reason for it right there.
I know Ohio State wide receivers have been very good at making their transition to the pros. How have the tight ends been doing?
They're fine.
Like acceptable? Who are the Ohio State tight ends who've gone to the league lately? Anybody know him?
Cade Stover, most recently. He got picked by the Texans, I think. He's behind.
I feel like I don't remember if I knew he was any good, so not him. Who else?
That's really been most notable one. And then Max Clare, obviously, would be more of a. They're not known for like the tight ends and stuff.
I mean, Max Clare, former quarterback as well.
I mean, this guy's practically Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
Does he have an affinity for female musicians? Does he date like a country singer or something? Can we make the rest of the connection? By the way, this is also the part. Tight ends and wide receivers in the college level, all of them are former quarterbacks. You know why? Because when they played high school football, they were the best athlete on the field. Yeah. And so they had them stand back there and run behind the line of scrimmage. Not all, Drew, but you know this. So many of those guys are high school quarterbacks. It's just like not an uncommon transition, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
What's his size? Can you give me a height and weight? And I'll look up Travis Kelce's current height.
6'4", 246.
Okay. 6'4", 246. Let's see what Travis Kelce is currently. Travis Kelce currently listed at
4'7", 40, I think is that.
6'5", 250. That's what.
So very close.
All right. I guess Max Clary it is. I mean, can you briefly just since we're in the middle of the mock draft center, is this D3 player supposed to get drafted? I feel like that can't be common.
I haven't looked at other mock drafts to know, to be honest with you.
How could you even know if they're good? Drew, you could have played D3 football.
No, I know I couldn't have.
Are you sure?
Yes.
The last D3
I could
player.
have played D3 basketball, but not football. Absolutely no chance.
The last Division III football player to be drafted, Quinn Miners, over the offensive lineman for the Denver Broncos. That was in 2021. He's the last D3 player to have been.
I don't know if he's going to get drafted or not, but he had a really good Senior Bowl compared to other wide receivers, of course, who are Division I level, and I think it puts him in the conversation where 5th, 6th, 7th round pick. Yeah, sure, why not?
Who's the best D3 player to ever be drafted? Rod Smith, was he D3? He's playing like Missouri Southern or something, wasn't he? That's probably 2. I'm just trying to think if you guys
Quinn
D3 players that made it to the league. I mean, yeah, I couldn't tell you. Quinn Miners is the one that was at the top of the list.
All right, here's the Hall of Fame Pierre Garçon from Mount Union.
That's a good pull.
Billy White Shoes Johnson apparently was a D3 player.
Pierre Garçon, Super Bowl champion.
London Fletcher.
London Fletcher.
London Fletcher. John
that might
Carroll.
be the answer. Honestly,
yeah, London Fletcher's a big name there. Ken Anderson, Drew.
Ken Anderson
should
be in the Hall of Fame.
Augustana College.
Should he?
Yes. He revolutionized the air raid type of offense. He was the only quarterback doing it back then.
I mean, he was the only quarterback doing it for a number of years if he was doing it back then.
Ken Anderson should have got in. That's why Bill Belichick didn't get votes. Try to get those guys in.
I still don't care that Bill Belichick didn't get in. Still don't care. Can't be bothered to care still.
Someone says, Cody, D3 wide receiver's a beast. Put some respect on the kid's name. He burned all the top corners at the Senior Bowl.
I was going to say,
well, that's a good sign.
His Senior Bowl was very good. I think he was the second fastest wide receiver on tape at the Senior Bowl.
Look, I'm asking because, like, the level of competition he would face at the other level does not give me any indication of, like, whether or not he can handle the NFL. But if he was really good at the Senior Bowl, that at least gives he was up against some of the top guys. So.
Someone says, stop trying to replace Travis Kelce. Well, I don't think they're by drafting a tight end in the fourth round or fourth. I don't think anybody's thinking that they're thinking that he's the eventual replacement necessarily.
Fairness, was Travis picked
if they drafted Sadiq though at 9th overall, then they truly think that is the clear replacement for Travis Kelce.
What round was Travis picked?
Mid round as well.
3rd round. He got knocked down draft boards because of weed, the classic, something that would never push you down a draft board now. But Andy gave him the old. He was a bit of a. I think he was like a bit of a troublemaker in college. He was seen as kind of like a wild child, which if you I guess follow the early part of his career, maybe a bit of a party boy. But, I mean, they checked that pretty quick, and he's one of the most talented guys in the NFL, certainly at the tight end position ever. So, but he was a 3rd-round pick. That's the problem with, like, that's what we talk about with John Dorsey all the time. Legitimately, one of my single biggest things about the biggest difference between Dorsey and Veach is very simple. Dorsey was better at finding, like, potential future Hall of Fame talent, and Brett Veach is great at finding starters. He is. He's really good at finding starters. And anywhere in the draft, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th round, whatever. But, John Dorsey drafted like a bunch of Hall of Famers, like tons in his time in Kansas City. And even if you go back to the time that he took Baker Mayfield in Cleveland, it's like he's just good at finding upper end talent.
No, that's a fact. The pushback on that always is that John Dorsey wasn't drafting 28 to 32 every year. But I hear you. It
took Justin
is true.
Houston in the 3rd, Travis Kelce in the 3rd. He found guys like that 2nd and 3rd round. He found some like real dudes
for sure.
They weren't all like
the
late 3rd round, but he found some dudes.
It's the positional value part of it too. Brett Veach has been drafting more linebackers and centers and guards. You know what I mean? As far as that, when he's hit on him, it's been those. Yeah. He has not hit on the key position of wide receiver and corner, or in defensive end. He's obviously hit on corner, Trent McDuffie. He hasn't hit on defensive line yet. Karlaftis, I would call a hit, but is he going to be viewed as a franchise pillar? It depends on who you ask. I don't think people put him in that. Houston, he's not in that category. Is he a key piece for their future? Of course. But if you did a exercise 2 years from now on the 4 franchise pillars, I don't know if George Karlaftis is there, unless you tell me suddenly he goes out there and has 12 sacks this year, then all of a sudden he's absolutely one of the pillars.
Yeah. And that's the thing. He's still got to take that leap forward. But that was like, again, it was upper end talent. Dorsey did a lot of things wrong. A lot of mismanagement. He had his own problems. And he paid too late, all this other stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's just like Brett Veach has got to find a star. He needs to find a star in the 3rd round at a valuable position. Find a star wide receiver, a star defensive end, a star safety, something.
I don't need him to find one in the 3rd round. I just need him to find one at 9 and 29 and 40. Yeah. Then that's all that would matter.
But eventually you do have to find your Puka Nacua. You do have to find your Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like, all the best GMs eventually find, like, their dude. To this point, his dude in the round after the 1st round is probably Creed Humphrey. But he plays center.
Yeah.
And that's, like in the end, that's still a problem.
Chiefs Red Half Hour brought to you by Leavenworth PD. Be a cop, be yourself, build your career at Leavenworth PD. Apply today at leavenworthks.gov/police. Coming up in about 15 minutes, we will get right back into college basketball. The Missouri Tigers losing their opening round game to Miami. Kansas loses on a buzzer beater yesterday to St. John's. Bill Self maybe considering retirement, so we will get into that coming up in the noon hour. People are giving you a hard time. Cody on the text line, they're saying, Cody Tapp, community college basketball player. Your comment saying, D3, Drew, you could have played. That comment,
I didn't say I could. I said you could. Drew's an athlete.
People are saying that no way you could play any college football or college basketball.
I'm not claiming I could.
But the football thing, absolutely not. I never played tackle football in my life.
Just backyard for me. Never organized.
I mean, look at me. Like, if anybody's seen me, if you were out at If you were
ITAP.
if you're at ITAP,
I've
with
played
us.
backyard football against some guys who played some like D2 or D3 football. You know, that's about the best I got for you.
I weigh 140 pounds right now. No chance I would have sniffed playing college football. That'd have been, unless I was the kicker, I suppose, which I was not. Which I was not.
Again,
Or like
I
the
was
punter.
also never claiming I could. to be very clear.
Yes, correct.
I'm not trying to claim that was
I
ever
appreciate
a
your confidence in
possibility.
me. I
I think your
suppose, yeah.
comment though was D3 football player. Heck, Drew could have played that level. That's what people were. That's why people were. That's why people were pushing back.
I'm not completely mocked, but I've watched some football at that level. It is very disorganized. There's people who's undersized. Like, you know, some of the offensive linemen play at like 250 pounds. I'm not.
I will say drafting
it's just a different style of football. It's just like people are smaller, slower. It's just like
drafting a D3 player. I mean, it better be a late round pick. That's all. It better be a very late round pick. If
I
you're
was
gonna
asking
use
you first if he's expected to be drafted at all.
And do we get a consensus on that?
Drew just said he had a really good.
I don't
Senior
think there's a grade necessarily on him on NFL.com, but
Okay.
I know that he played well in the Senior Bowl, and sometimes that's all it takes for those D2 or D3 guys.
Don't forget, baseball is back this week. Opening night is live on Netflix this Wednesday, March 25th. Aaron Judge and the New York Yankees clash with Rafael Devers and the San Francisco Giants. MLB opening night, Yankees-Giants live on Netflix, 7 Central, 4 p.m. Pacific. Up next, we get to what's trending, and as I said, right back into college hoops. What happened with Kansas yesterday? Missouri Tigers with an early exit, and could Bill Self be done?
What's up, KC? It's Carter Jensen. You're listening to Cody and Gold on your home for Royals baseball, 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. 96.5 The Fan.
If you still haven't had your roof looked at after all that hail came through Kansas City, I don't know what you're waiting for. But if you're just not sure in general about the state or health of your roof, let me assure you that Century Roofing is the roofing company in Kansas City that you want to trust. For over 35 years, they've been protecting homes across Kansas City, one roof at a time. That's 3 decades and more than 35,000 roofs. You don't have to just take it from me, although they have done work on my roof and came out to look at my roof after this most recent hailstorms, as we were just outside the range of where it like really got bad. But we wanted to be sure. And lots of these roofing companies came by and knock on the door. You want someone who can stand behind their warranty, will be there over the lifetime of your roof to back it up. And when you've got that kind of reputation, you know that it is. They've been voted best roofing company in Johnson County 4 years in a row, best roofing company in Kansas City, according to readers at the Kansas City Star just last year. So if you need roofing needs, Century Roofing is the one for you. Experience matter, reputation matters, and they stand behind every single roof that they install. Trust the pillars of strength with KC-based and female-owned Century Roofing. Go to centuryroofingkc.com.
This baseball season, FanDuel is letting you choose your own reward for opening week. Betting customizations that transform how you experience the game. Make your choice, and the reward will be ready for you on your next MLB bet. FanDuel is the home of home runs. Now that you can choose your reward for opening week, baseball just got more exciting. For myself, personally, I'm looking at opening day. Cole Reagans is healthy, so I love a nice strikeout bet with Cole. And looking at the Royals' home opener, fences are in, the Twins have no pitching, and Jack Caglione has a chance to grab the city. Give me an anytime home run for him on that day. So, ready to play your game? Head to FanDuel.com/local to choose your reward for MLB's opening week. FanDuel, an official partner of the MLB, and FanDuel Sportsbook is the official sportsbook of 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Missouri. Opt-in required. Rewards are non-withdrawable. Restrictions apply, including bonus and token expiration, leg requirements, and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Need to sell your house in Kansas City but not sure what the best option is? Selling a home, especially when dealing with foreclosure, divorce, job relocation, or an inherited property, can feel overwhelming. That's why I don't just make offers. I help homeowners understand all their options so they can make the right choice with no pressure and no obligation. I'm Rex, a local homebuyer and resident right here in Kansas City. Whether you're looking for a fast cash sale or just want to explore your choices, I'll walk you through the pros and cons of selling to me or listing with an agent. If selling directly is your best move, I'll offer you a fair cash price and a closing timeline that fits your needs in as little as 7 days or on your schedule. No repairs, no commissions, no hidden fees. Just a transparent, hassle-free process so you know exactly what to expect. Let's talk. Call 816-330-6000 or visit rexspyskc.com for a free, no-pressure consultation. Rex Spies KC, helping homeowners make informed decisions with confidence.
Call Hamilton today for our $79 mainline drain cleaning special. The pros at Hamilton will inspect your drains with video camera technology to pinpoint exactly what is needed to clear those clogs and help prevent expensive drain repairs. The expert technicians at Hamilton are ready 7 days a week to solve your problem the right way, the first time. Over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 five-star reviews are great reasons to trust Hamilton. Visit callhamilton.com/radio for details, terms, and conditions.
License number 2025-11120.
There's nothing like the sound of Royals baseball. When the boys in blue take the field, loyal fans tune in, turn it up, and stay connected. And where do Kansas City's most passionate sports fans gather? Right here on 96.5 The Fan. Sports fans are loyal fans. They support the teams they love and the businesses that support their team. If you're ready to grow your business and connect with a dedicated, engaged audience, call 816-522-0444 or email greg.bergen@odyssey.com. That's greg.bergen@odyssey.com.
I stopped smoking with Mark Patrick's hypnosis when nothing else worked. 1 year later, my wife Michelle and I attended the Mark Patrick Weight Loss Hypnosis Seminar. In 2 months, lost 43 pounds, and she lost 18 pounds.
And we feel great. Join Mark Patrick Hypnosis and lose the weight or stop smoking. Only $59.99 guaranteed or your money back. Hypnosis, Wednesday, April 1st at the Wingate by Wyndham, Kansas City. Formerly Sure Stay Plus by Best Western in Kansas City. Lose weight hypnosis, 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking hypnosis, 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
Come on. No! It's just a golf lesson, champ. Loosen up.
I can't. See that Hyundai Santa Fe?
Yeah.
I only paid for no
Finish up on your own. I gotta run.
Deal's so right, it almost feels wrong. The Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Get 0% APR for 60 months, plus 0 payments for 90 days on the Hyundai Tucson, Tucson Hybrid, Santa Fe, or Santa Fe Hybrid. Now, during the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Hurry, offer ends March 31st. Call 562-314-4603 for details.
It's about time delivery worked on your schedule. Same day, next day, or scheduled in advance. However you plan it, the Home Depot delivers the whole job. From drywall to doors, plumbing to paint, we'll get it there when you need it. Because on the job site, timing is everything. You order, we deliver. It's that easy. The Home Depot Pro. It's about time.
My perfect day has sand, salt water, and friends. But my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can take me out of the moment. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, most people saw 90% clearer skin, and many were even 100% plaque-free at 4 months. Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
What's up, KC? It's Matt Strom from the Kansas City Royals. Don't miss Vern's On Deck show 1 hour before first pitch right here on 96.5 The Fan.
KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station. What's trending?
Cheddar, mozzarella, Havarti. What's trending is brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. One contractor, all things parking lot.
Number 1 on What's Trending, the NCAA tournament had both locals out after the first weekend. The Kansas Jayhawks lost in the round of 32, 67-65 on a buzzer beater after Kansas overcame a 14-point second half deficit. So St. John's on to the Sweet 16. They'll go to D.C. to take on number 1 overall seed Duke. The Missouri Tigers in St. Louis fell in their opening round game to 7 seed Miami, 80-66. We're going to talk more about both locals' early exits coming up after What's Trending.
Next up on What's Trending, obviously that means the Sweet 16 is set. Number 1, Arizona is, actually Duke is still in the field. Arizona there as well. not surprising. A lot of top seeds throughout the top of the tournament. No mid-majors, as you pointed out, for the first time in a while in college football. Not ever. There's certainly been years before that they have done that
last year.
Last year. Yeah, I just didn't mean like this is not the first time ever that no mid-majors have made it. But it's been a little while since no mid-majors had made the Sweet 16 field. So we'll see whether or not it plays out. That action won't start back up until Thursday evening. What's the first game back in play? I don't remember. Have you looked ahead that far yet?
The last game.
First game is Texas-Purdue on Thursday.
Yeah, the last game is going to be the Tennessee-Iowa State game. But yeah, it gets going on Thursday night at 6:10. And then Nebraska-Iowa 9-4 matchup. Arkansas-Arizona is also on Thursday. And then the late game on Thursday night will be Illinois and Houston. Elsewhere on what's trending, Jackson Smith-Njigba is now the highest paid wide receiver in football. According to Adam Schefter, the Seahawks have signed to a new 4-year, $168.6 million contract extension. Makes him the highest paid wide receiver in NFL history. So that averages out to about $42.1 million per year, includes over $120 million guaranteed. Both are records for any wide receiver.
They must be thinking the cap's going up because that number, even for Jackson Smith-Njigba, seems crazy. But that does mean he's under control for the next 6 years in Seattle. They did this one early. He's got 2 years left on his rookie deal. Paid him an additional 4. So it'll be an average of $32 million per year over the next 6. Maybe they're viewing it that way as a way to maybe cost control him down the road. Next up on what's trending, a bipartisan bill has been introduced in Congress over the possibility of trying to eliminate predictive markets from doing sports wagering or for predictive markets for sporting events. See if anything comes of it, but just something to keep an eye on as we're still we talk about the infancy of the NIL era, still very much in the infancy of legalized sports wagering being mostly nationalized at this point, so we don't know whether or not certain things will be allowed or not. So at least a bipartisan bill looking over the predictive markets, places like, Polymarket and Kalshi, and whether or not they should be allowed to do sports wagering.
Yeah, right now, remember, they are not held to the same tax standard as your sports books. Sports books are at a state level. Kalshi and all these other ones are federally regulated. So that's the difference between the two right now. All right, elsewhere, Creighton coach Greg McDermott is retiring after this season, with the job being passed on to their coach in waiting, Alan Huss. That's according to Jeff Brazello. Greg McDermott has won 365 games in 16 years.
Hell of a run at Creighton.
Oh, totally. Yeah, some great seasons there. But he's done. He's done.
We'll talk later in the hour about whether or not Bill Self's going to follow suit and hang him up himself. Right. Next up on what's trending, Brave starter Spencer Strider headed to the IL with an oblique strain. You might be like, why does that matter? One, he's a very good starter in Major League Baseball. Two, the Royals face the Braves this weekend in meaningful baseball games, so they will not have to face Strider as a part of that injury.
That's what's trending here on Cody and Gold.
Brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete, trusted in Kansas City since 1994. One contractor, all things parking lot.
Yeah, coming up in 20 minutes, we will discuss Bill Self's comments in postgame. For the first time, it really feels like he is considering retirement, and whether or not that actually happens, we'll get into what it means, where Kansas is at as a program. But let's start with the two locals that did lose, the only two in the tournament, obviously. Missouri Tigers lost in their opening round game, and the Kansas Jayhawks lost yesterday to St. John's in the round of 32. Starting with KU, that was just a pitiful performance for about 95% of the game.
Awful offensive. Did they even have an offensive game plan?
A lot of standing around, which we had seen. Down the stretch. They have really struggled offensively this season, waiting for something to happen. They also simply could not inbound the basketball. I mean, that was the most embarrassing part of the entire game.
Sure.
They looked like an 8-year-old basketball team that had never seen a bit of a pressure. In a way, St. John's was not even really doing a press. They just were
guarding the one inbound pass.
Yes, and Kansas could not figure it out. They threw a ball off a player's foot. One just went straight out of bounds. It was horrendous. So you had that going on. I agree with you. The offense was stagnant. And then late, after you come all the way back on a 14-point run, or a 14-point deficit to overcome, and I thought they completely bungled the foul situation late. Kansas had multiple fouls to give with, 17 seconds or so to go after tying it up. Darren Peterson makes the 2 free throws. Game's tied. You think that you're playing for a shot to go to overtime, and instead of letting some more time go off the clock, Kansas was telling their players, understandably so, to foul. We've got fouls to give. But there was a disconnect there where St. John's was never going to take the final shot with 10 seconds to go. So why was Kansas fouling so quickly? They did not get the same advantage they should have had. It should have been a situation, instead of 3.9 seconds to go,
should have been 1.
Should have been 2, 1, whatever. That did not make any sense to me. They messed that up. And then the reality is, even if it's 3.9 seconds, the defense was abysmal on the final possession. Elmarko Jackson got blown right by. And yeah, give the kid credit. He made the layup, right? And he hadn't scored any points in the game, so he deserves some credit. But at the same time, Kansas completely dropped the ball after working so hard to come back and try to steal a game that they shouldn't have won. Then to have the final possession play like that, that was a pitiful performance. And this is why this team had, on one hand, the ability to lose the first game, and the other hand, talent-wise, the ability to go on a deeper run. But we didn't know which one it was going to be. And we got our answer. They're a team that, once again, is not going to a Sweet 16 for the, 6th time in 7 years under Bill Self.
The reason why I didn't predict them to beat St. John's was this. I hadn't watched them play a good basketball game against a good team in what felt like forever. And largely, it was these, offensive efforts where you, get completely lost in it. We can talk about that in a minute, and Darren Peterson and Council and Tiller and some of these others. The end of game sequence, I think what's so frustrating is, and if he'd had a timeout, maybe you could have explained it better. Infuriating to watch the near correct strategy be bombed so badly, because it's very simple math. Let them dribble for as long as they can before you foul. They had 5 fouls to give, or 4 fouls to give. They had a ton of variance in this. And so, the first time they fouled him within a second and a half. This was an end-of-game free throw situation. No. And you saw Bill Self yell, foul slower. And then on the second one, also too fast. Third one, a little slower. So it's they were working towards it, but then they still left 3 seconds on the clock before the last one. And that's the other part of the system that I thought was wrong. Because of the tightness in which they played the final drive, the 3.9 seconds, it was a mistake to foul the final time. They should have held it for reserve in case that guy was getting past you. When the guy was driving to the hoop, if it was 7 seconds to go and he was getting past you, you should have had the option to foul him and then make them reset and do it again. Don't let them get the comfortable free throw. That was a mistake.
Bill Self was screaming, no foul, because they had nothing to give. But I think the players...
The foul before, they shouldn't have done.
No, I agree with you. But I'm just saying, the players took that as, they were worried about fouling. So, that was part of the reason why Elmarko Jackson, I think, got blown by the way he did. I also think it's fair to criticize why Elmarko Jackson was put back in the basketball game. And you can say, well, he was a guy all year long. Fine, but there's also the reality that Cole Rosario was a big part of your run you went on. And I get it, that was on the offensive end of things. But I would have liked Jamari maybe in the game instead. I think Elmarko Jackson was not having a good basketball game. And you can say,
no, he wasn't.
Well, that's your guy.
He's supposed to be the better defender.
But he's, Elmarko Jackson, though, is not... we're not about trying to take Darren Peterson out of the game or take Flory out of the game. It's Elmarko Jackson. I would have been just fine with that. It's easy to second guess, but I thought the foul part was the part that really set the table, though, for how they screwed up with the final 3.9 seconds. And St. John's, the killer is St. John's did not play well at all. This is not where St. John's played amazing. Now, they shot way more threes than they ever have in the Patino era, but Kansas was allowing that. They said, we're going to dare you to make the shots. And in large part, they actually did not make the shots. But Kansas was so inept offensively for 90% of the game that they had to dig out of a 14-point hole. And they didn't run out of time. They actually tied it up. They didn't run out of time. They just were pathetic on the final defensive possession, and they go home early, and now the conversation shifts to Bill Self, and we'll get to that in about 15 minutes.
It's so tough because if you look at like you mentioned, the ancillary stats, the field goal percentage, the 3-point percentage, the free throw percentage, I've seen the stat. It's you lose 98% of the time you shot the way St. John shot. But I think it's what's been so frustrating about Kansas this year, and what Bill Self typically his teams are good about, which is how did they get all the way to March 21st and still have zero offensive identity? Gold, that first half offensively was egregiously bad, and not just because of the inbound stuff. They just got down there and it doesn't even look like they're running a set. Are you running an offense? And I'm sure they're calling it off. It's not that. But for a huge chunk of the game, it doesn't even look like they're trying to execute an offense. They just hand it off a couple times near the free throw line, and then Peterson shoots. Or for 4 or 5 minutes, he doesn't shoot, and somebody else does for a little while. But it didn't seem like a team that ever found an offense that they like to run. And you're just not going to go that far in the tournament if you're not in that.
I still want to get. I think St. John's deserves way more credit for the way that KU played. Because if you look like
defensively, you think they frustrated him?
Yeah, because this is what St. John's does. Like
a lot of teams have done this to Kansas. The only thing though, but I get you.
But I think that this is what St. John's specializes in, and kind of what we talked about beforehand is what type of game do we see? Well, in the 60s, it's going to be a grinded out game. It'll be ugly. St. John's all year has gone periods where they go ice cold for 5-minute stretches, which they did in this game. But the thing that killed Kansas was turnovers.
Yeah, they shot fine.
St. John's had 15 more shots. 15. KU had 16 turnovers. They only averaged 10. And St. John's took advantage for the most part. They had 18 points off of turnovers. So if you limit your turnovers, KU wins the game even though they played bad. I think ultimately, regardless of the situation at the end, which I still think was a great play by St. John's in the grand scheme of things, they affected and I think Robbie Hummel said it on the broadcast, and Stan Van Gundy, they're going to make anybody else but Darren Peterson beat them. And they did a really good job of that, and nobody else really stepped up. Late towards the game, Melvin Contra Jr. kind of got going. Flory was fine, but Trey White didn't get going.
He hadn't got going for a month.
Tiller was the worst player on the floor.
Yeah, Bryson Tiller didn't have that great of a game either, obviously. But I think that's what teams, and that's where 2 or 3 weeks ago, I thought that's when I made the comment. I think teams kind of have found a way how to guard KU. We're going to do the best that we can to limit Darren Peterson. They don't have anybody else that we're scared of. We're going to let them beat us. And I think that's what KU jumped into is once Darren fully got back in the fold, it was, let's take this guy away because he's going to be a top 3 player in the NBA. And make somebody else beat us. And that's where they found some trouble late in the season in the Big 12 tournament and obviously in this matchup against St. John's.
Yeah, the last month, Melvin Council was not the same player. Neither was Tiller, neither was Trey White. That's a big problem. Those are three guys. Those are
starters, right?
They figured out how to play them.
No, I some of it is definitely that.
Cal Baptist even did that.
No, but that's why in a weird way, Drew, what you're saying is sure, St. John's played fine. It's not like they don't deserve any credit for winning or whatever, but it wasn't like St. John's frustrated them differently. Kansas's offenses look like this for 6 weeks. I have not watched them play a consistent offensive basketball game against an actual decent team in a month and a half. Not just against St. John's, against every.
The last time was literally a month from now. I think it was February 23rd they beat Houston. Yeah. I think it's been exactly a month now since they last looked good.
Yeah. And in no other time, they were playing worse opponents and they'd scrape by. They'd play good opponents and they'd get their ass kicked. Or it'd be some other game where they'd struggle and it'd be 52-52 and they just cross their fingers and hope. They never found themselves offensively. And look, that happens sometimes for a tournament team. That stat about not making the Sweet 16 only one time in the last 7 years, though, that is very un-Kansas-like, especially under Bill Self.
No doubt, and that's what we're going to talk about, Bill Self, and that aspect of it, plus what he said about potentially his future and whether or not he could retire. That's coming up in 15 minutes. Then the Missouri Tigers, earlier on the weekend, on Friday night, they had their opening round game in St. Louis. I thought that was going to be much more an advantage for them. They never gave the crowd a whole lot to be excited about. And Missouri loses to Miami. Miami then goes and plays Purdue. Miami loses to Purdue. But the Missouri Tigers are just in a weird spot as a program, as I think you highlighted heading into it, which is where you've now had one tournament win since 2013. Dennis Gates has had early exits, but he's also recruiting. He's getting back to the tournament. He's also recruiting at a very high level. And that's where I think next year will tell us a lot about Dennis Gates in terms of, is he a great recruiter and somebody that struggles to coach guys up, or is it the opposite? He can coach guys up, but he hasn't brought in the talent. If you look at the rivals on 3 sites of the world next year, the talent should not be the problem if you buy into those sites, because he's going to have his best recruiting class. So next year, I think, is an extremely pressure-packed season for Dennis Gates. If they underachieve, it can't be a talent excuse next year.
No. I mean, they haven't made a regional finals a team since 08-09. So it's been a long time since they just got to the second weekend. They couldn't even win against Miami. The home court advantage didn't matter because they trailed Miami for such a huge chunk. I don't think the crowd, for a little bit, they had those 2 huge dunks in a row in the second half and kind of at the end of the first half and kind of pulled it back close for a little bit. And you know that feeling, Gold, right before it feels like a crowd's getting ready to erupt, and you can feel the buzz growing, and then they let that die off, and then they get a couple more shots, and then they'd let that die off. Again, Dennis Gates is not doing a bad job. He has as many tournament appearances as the previous 2 head coaches combined. So, like, they're a better program than they were under the last 2 guys. Hell, he's got as many as Frank Haith had, too. So, like, he has more than Frank Haith had, even though he was only there for 3 seasons there in Missouri. So, it's like, it's not like he's doing a bad job with the program. But at some point, this is like the Steelers. It's like, at some point, you don't want to just get there and lose in the first round or get there and lose in the second round. You want to, like, accomplish something.
Yeah, someone literally texted in, we are the Pittsburgh Steelers of college basketball.
That's weird timing. I swear I didn't see that text before I said
I mean,
it.
at the exact same
You're probably
time.
on an 8-second delay, and we were just making the same comp. But it's just like they've been stuck in. Look, as a program, they've never really accomplished the big stuff. We joke about the Final Four, but as a Power Four conference, I feel like you should be able to occasionally make an Elite Eight once every 20 years. Occasionally make a Final Four. It's not crazy to ask once every 20 years that if you play in the SEC, Big 10, Big 12, do you find your way in an Elite Eight? And it just feels like it's been a long time for them. I thought their biggest problem is that, I gave them, I remember you and I having Gabe DeArmond on right before the SEC tournament. We were talking Missouri basketball, and we're like, hey, does Dennis Gates deserve a lot of credit for how much better T.O. Barrett has gotten from the beginning of the season to the end? He's like, yeah, man, he's been probably his biggest success story. He was so bad in that game that if anybody else was on the court, they would have had a better chance to win. He was 0 for 7. He played 14 minutes. He was getting in foul trouble. Like, he accomplished nothing. And you just can't have that if you're Missouri. You can't have somebody no-show.
This is the whole tournament part of it, though, for any of these teams. Like, the off night in February, big deal. But, like, in March, you have to have weekend after weekend of everybody playing their A game in order to get deep in the tournament. And you need some breaks along the way. Plain and simple. You can't have, we just got into about Kansas, with 3 of their players not playing at a high level. Missouri, Barrett was not playing at a high level, obviously, in that game.
Mark Mitchell didn't score a bucket until the second half. I think that's
he was scoreless at half, and they were within
forget T.O. Barrett.
Points.
Mark Mitchell, your best player, had 0 baskets at halftime.
He was good in the second half?
Sure.
But as far as like just Dennis Gates, again, I really think next year's is fascinating for him because he's got 1 tournament win in 4 years. And next year he has a top recruiting class. So
they were fortunate to even be in the game with 5 minutes left, with how the game going, how the game went.
Yeah, it's weird. It was like, honestly, at no point in watching that game was I like, Missouri's going to win this game.
It was a 5.
There wasn't a single second where I'm like, you know what, Missouri's going to really put it down. I was like, nah, Missouri's losing.
Yeah,
they just look like the worst team.
They had the lead with like 7 minutes left, and then we're down to like 5 with about 5 minutes left. And at that point, basketball just kind of happened, and you were playing from behind, and it couldn't get going. But
and even then, even if you kind of make that run, like after a while, it's just kind of hard to like maintain that level for that long. You got 5 minutes left, you finally break even. Sometimes it's just hard to do that. Meanwhile, over on the NFL side, Jackson Smith and Jigba, as you mentioned in What's Trending, signed a $168 million deal, $128 million of which is guaranteed. Every time I see a wide receiver paid, and I understand that the numbers are still getting higher and higher. Huh? Oh my God, just draft one at 9. You get 5 super cheap years. Now, I understand they only got 3 with Jackson Smith and Jigba. Jumped the line and decided to pay the man with 2 years left on his contract. Now, they might think about it stretching it out. And you get 6 more years at that rate. So more like $32 million a year. That's probably T. Higgins' money.
And he's 23, 24 years old.
What's T. Higgins make? He make $30 million a year? Probably close.
If I had to guess, I think it's something like that. I'm not sure the exact number.
But it's like, they're probably looking at it that way. It just makes me more convinced. You got to find your number 1 wide receiver. It's like the opposite of the quarterback thing. We say like, let's get a rookie quarterback. Like a rookie quarterback on a rookie deal. When they're good, man, rookie deal quarterbacks, boy, that's a time to win a Super Bowl. When you got a quarterback paid as high as Patrick Mahomes, I think a star wide receiver on a rookie deal could be equally as valuable.
It's extremely valuable. I mean, more importantly, just hit. You got to hit on the damn draft pick. I mean, it's not even like the financial ramification advantage that it gives you. Just plain and simple, you have a top draft pick. Can you finally hit on a elite wide receiver? And maybe the Chiefs use 9 for 1, maybe they don't. But looking at the numbers, with salary caps going up, JSN 42.1 per year, Jamar Chase 40.2, Justin Jefferson 35 million, CeeDee Lamb 34 million. This is the price of having extremely talented, in this case, young wide receiver as well. The Seahawks are also in a pretty good spot because they can do this as well. Because Sam Darnold, while he was great and they signed him to a free agent deal, Sam Darnold's not making top 5 quarterback money. You know, he was on a deal, still not, I wouldn't call it a prove-it deal necessarily from Minnesota over to Seattle, but this is not the same as the deals that the Burrows, Mahomes, the Jacksons, the Allens have. So your quarterback's not making a ton of money if you're Seattle, to where you're able to also go out and structure a deal for JSN. Like, some people are saying, why would Seattle do this? They're coming off a Super Bowl. JSN was the best receiver in football this past year. Doesn't mean he's overall the number one receiver, but he was the best receiver in football last year. He's certainly at minimum a top 5 receiver in football. And they're hoping that in 2 years, the contract won't be too bad because the cap's going to still continue to rise.
Because by then a wide receiver will be making $50 million a year.
T. Higgins makes 28.75, by the way.
So, I mean, like they're looking at it as like, here's a 6-year average at $32 million a year. That's a number that we can tolerate. I think that's why they signed the deal early. That also means Puka Nacua is going to make whatever that number is plus 2%, right? Mm-hmm. He'll make $170 million over 4 years, $122 million of which will be guaranteed. It's always a risk, obviously. And look, truth is, do I think that contract's going to pay off in full for JSN? Probably not. If I were an NFL franchise and Sam Darnold was if I had Patrick Mahomes, I'd think harder about it. But because I have Sam Darnold, I think less hard about it. If I had Patrick Mahomes, I might sit on my hands and be like, do I need to pay JSN? You know, like, do I need to pay him $42 million a year? I don't know. Maybe not. But if I've got Darnold, I pay him.
And also, if you wait another year or two, then JSN is making,
$50 million a year.
Yeah, 48, whatever, sure. Whatever the dollar amount ends up being. At some point, we're not far off from a wide receiver making $50 million a year.
No, the next, we're
probably
I guess 5 contracts
years.
away, 4 years. I don't think we're as far away as people think. If the cap number continues to go up, it is. If they get this 18th game, it might be 2 years. Like, whenever they get the 18th game approved, just know that that number is going to skyrocket again.
If one of the receivers that are drafted this year turn out to be a stud receiver, a top 15-ish receiver, that guy will probably be close to $50 million per year one day.
There's a starting center making $27 million a year. Bad quarterbacks make 40. Like, it's not that, or like mediocre, not bad, but mediocre quarterbacks make 40 million a year. A star wide receiver, yeah. I don't. Who was the best wide receiver in last year? Who was the best rookie wide receiver last year? Who had the most yardage last year? Anybody remember?
I do not know off the top of my head.
Drew, you remember anybody? Was it Tet?
That seems like a good answer.
It has to be him.
That's my best guess.
Egbuka was up there, but it ended up being Tet. Egbuka had the quicker start, but Tet had 1,000. Egbuka had 938. And after that, Luther Burden, 652.
Man, Luther Burden was third at 652. That's it?
If you, out of receivers, out of all
the class wasn't very good last
receiving year. Leaders, there were a couple tight ends, Loveland, Harold Fannin, and Tyler Warren. But
that class is kind of like
this
year's
receivers.
Class.
Tet, Egbuka, Burden, Jaden Higgins.
That class is like this
Manor.
That was a week.
Next year is the one that is
week.
And then Travis Hunter turned out to be a disappointment, got hurt.
Yeah, never know. And now they're going to play him more at corner, right? Isn't that the word on the street?
More so.
I mean, I'm assuming that's why they paid all the money they've paid at wide receiver over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I assume they, going to continue down that.
All right, coming up next here on Cody and Gold, let's talk about Bill Self's future, what he had to say about that very thing, and the random question of the day here on Cody and Gold.
What's up, KC? It's Matt Strom from the Kansas City Royals. You're listening to Cody and Gold on your home for Royals baseball, 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. 96.5 The Fan.
Basketball all last weekend. We'll have more coming up on Thursday, and you know that Underdog is the best place to get in on the hoops action. That's because you can make entries and win money right now in Missouri, right over at Underdog. It's super easy. You're just going to choose your favorite players to go higher or lower on stats, points, rebounds, steals, and more. Plus, you can mix and match sports starting on, like Friday, right? You get some baseball in on the action. Get your entries right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. Or you could try something like ladders. Make 3 to 5 picks, progressively win more based on how well each pick performs. Win a little on a decent night, win a lot on a great night. Up to 250 times your money available over at Underdog. Download the app today. Use promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P, to score $50 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P. Underdog, make plays, win money. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/playing good terms. _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-MY-RESET or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Sex, intimacy, love. These three things are critical to a good relationship, and that's the problem with erectile dysfunction. It often destroys sexual enjoyment and intimacy. It stresses the love between partners, often to the breaking point. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if you're suffering with ED, you likely know exactly what I'm talking about. But I also want you to know that ED doesn't have to impact your relationship anymore. At Heartland Men's Health, we're ED experts with our focus on men's sexual health. We've treated tens of thousands of men and have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases. I promise you, if you're like most guys, you can get your sex life back, perhaps even performing like you haven't in years. So if ED is affecting you, it's time to get back to better sex, better intimacy, and deeper love. Call us. Just $99 gets you blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
Xfinity Tech Support, Matthew speaking.
Hi, I live in a pretty remote place, like Jurassic Park remote. Whoa!
Wow.
Will Xfinity Mobile work out here?
Yep, the combination of reliable Wi-Fi and 5G makes it so that you can stay connected in all kinds of places. Plus, you get access to ultra-fast speeds and coverage, whether you're poolside or out live streaming with a T-Rex.
Hold still, you're about to go viral.
Welcome to a new era of Wi-Fi boosted mobile. Cut your mobile bill in half with 2 lines of unlimited. Learn more at xfinitymobile.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Watch Jurassic Park with Xfinity. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Internet required. Savings comparison based on promotional rate for 2 lines of Xfinity Mobile Unlimited versus 2 lines of T-Mobile Experience More, Verizon Unlimited Plus, and AT&T Starter as of February 10th, 2026. Taxes, fees, extra.
This is Kevin Harlan, and if I sound a little tired, it's because it's Ford Truck Month at Rob's Side Ford.
You and me both, Kevin. It's been nonstop.
Well, Rob, remind me again why.
Because Rob's Site Ford is offering brand new F-150s up to $16,500 off, 0% financing for 60 months, and 0 payments for 90 days.
Yes, that'll do it.
And that's just the F-150s. We've got the best deals of the year on Super Duty, Ranger, and Maverick.
Okay, so let me get this straight, Rob. Massive savings, strong financing, no payments for 3 months, and people are showing up?
It's nonstop.
Funny how that works.
Turns out, when you've got the inventory, the price, and the experience, people notice.
Especially when you're Kansas City's #1 top-rated Ford dealer on Google. 4.8 stars and over 3,000 reviews.
And Kansas City's top volume F-150 dealer.
No wonder you're tired. It's Ford Truck Month at Rob's Side Ford, 135th and State Line, or robsite.com.
But don't wait. These offers end soon.
Feeling the heat? Don't sweat it. Turn to Comfort Systems Heating and Cooling. With temperatures rising, now's the time to make sure your AC is ready to keep you cool. Whether it's your home or your business, Comfort Systems services both residential and commercial systems across the Kansas City area. Call today for a fast tune-up, repair, or system upgrade so you can stay cool all summer long. Family owned and operated since 1990. Comforting people is what we do. Comfort Systems is right for you. MyComfortSystems.com.
Join Cody and Gold live this Friday, 10 to 2 at Rally House Independence for the Rally With Us MLB Opening Day event. Shop Royals gear. First 100 fans get up to 40% off. Plus chances to win gift cards and home opener tickets courtesy of The Fan. Details at 965thefan.com.
When shopping for a new auto insurance policy, AAA could help you customize your coverage to fit your unique needs and budget. Trust AAA Auto Insurance to help you find the balance that works for you. See how a simple switch could make a big difference. AAA, we're always with you. Visit AAA.com/insurance. Insurance provided to qualified AAA members by Automobile Club Inter-Insurance Exchange and AAA affiliate insurers. Membership requires a separate payment.
Some things just go together, like peanut butter and jelly, or a Casey's spicy chicken sandwich and a 49-cent medium fountain drink, or a Casey's breakfast sandwich and a 49-cent fountain drink, or even Casey's limited time hot ham and Swiss sliders and a 49-cent fountain drink. You get the idea. It's not crazy. It's Casey's. See store for details.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So I opened a restaurant and needed everything. Menus, signage, catering brochures.
Everything and then some.
I went to Staples. They printed it all and even suggested takeout menus.
One money pit with a side of fries.
But now at Staples, you get up to $125 off custom print orders.
$125 off. Now you're cooking. Brand your business in a big way at Staples.
That was easy.
Shop Staples in store, online, or in the app by 4/18 to unlock. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Hi, I'm Chef Franklin Becker. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. There's only one FDA-approved Ozempic made by Novo Nordisk. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5, 1, and 2 milligrams.
Brought to you by Gravely Commercial Mowers. Gravely Mow the Difference sales event on now through March 29th. Your reputation matters. That's why so many landscape professionals choose Gravely. You can save up to 20% on Gravely Commercial Mowers during the Gravely Mow the Distance sales event going on now through the 29th. Visit your local Gravely dealer today.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500.
Mike's got this.
Hey, it's Scott Parks, and we've launched Beyond the Pitch KC, a podcast on how Kansas City landed the world's largest sporting event, presented by Commerce Bank. Visit commercebank.com/soccer26. Subscribe on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Don't forget, coming up on Friday, we are going to be out at Maloney's in downtown OP. It's opening night for the Royals. We'll be taking on the Atlanta Braves, and so we'll be out there hanging out. Everybody from the station and just watching some baseball. Plus, Sweet 16 will be on, so looking forward to heading out.
A lot of good sports.
There.
Good time for a multi-TV setup situation, I would say, right?
Absolutely.
Anytime you got more than one thing you want to watch. Will there be some NBA maybe too? Get a little bit of everything. I don't know if anyone wants to watch NBA.
My guess is the TVs will be Royals in tournament.
You think so?
I'm going to
you
go
think
ahead.
you just be one like Pacers fan in the corner?
I don't think so.
Drew, I dare you on Friday. Get over to Maloney's and be like, hey, do you mind? Can I get that Pacers? And the Pacers are awful this year. But can I get that Pacers game on in the corner?
Somebody pull up League Pass on the TV for me.
Is Halliburton coming back this year?
No. Nope.
Was he, if they were good, would he have come back this year?
I think he announced before the season he was not coming back.
Okay, I couldn't remember. I just knew like the
Him
injuries.
and Dame are the two Achilles injuries that are not back. Of course, Tatum is back.
Tatum came back quick. Must have.
Yeah. His rehab was
a special
very good.
doctor or something. I don't know. It's crazy. Also on Friday, we'll be out at Rally House in Independence. Alex and I will be there from 10 to 2. You have a chance to win a Rally House gift card while we're out there. Maybe get geared up for opening day, which will take place just a few days later. So if you want to come out and see us at Rally House, we'll be there on Friday, getting ready for the Royals' first game of the season.
Random question of the day coming up in about 10 minutes. But let's get back into some college basketball. We talked about the early exits for both KU and MU. But what could happen the rest of this week? And I say this week because I think we'll get a determination on it. That is the future of Bill Self, who for the first time answered a question about his future differently than I think we've ever heard. This was Bill Self when he was asked after the game last night.
Given what you've gone through on and off the court, how much time will you take to reflect upon what is next on this stage of your career?
Well, I haven't really gone through much on the court. You know, I've gone through some stuff off the court. So I'll get back and get with family and visit and see what's going on. I love what I do. I need to be able to do it where I'm feeling good and healthy to do it, fairly well. So I'll get back home and it'll all be discussed.
That's different than what we've heard in the past. Now, he is always acknowledged that he's not going to be the guy that coaches in his mid-70s or whatever it may be.
Like Pitino's 73. Bill Self still got 10 years till he's that old.
He was like, I don't think that was ever, even if he didn't have these health issues, which have been unfortunately happening with some heart problems, and there was the one scare this year during a practice.
Yeah.
And so first and foremost, of course, that has to be the number one priority. I think if he is having this discussion that he says he's going to have with his family, at bare minimum, it means we're down to the final year or two. I mean, it's at bare minimum, and there's a real chance. Like if I had a bet on him retiring, I would still bet that he's not retiring, but
I think it's only like a 25% chance he retires.
It is still more likely than ever, and I don't think you should be shocked if we found out later this week he would. I still think he will be back for one more year in the head coach at KU, but it is getting down to the final year or two of his time as a college basketball coach. And from a basketball-only end, look, I know KU fans, a chunk of them are obviously upset, disappointed, and you should be, right? I mean, last night was a pitiful performance, and now it's been 6 out of 7 years not making it to a Sweet 16. There's also a national title mixed in there, I'll remind people. I would 1,000% want Bill Self back as a KU grad next year. I also think, though, there is a continuing trend that is happening. I think they desperately need a general manager around the program to help with some of the roster construction. I think sometimes he's a bit too loyal to certain guys. There are some adjustments he has to make. I just refuse to believe fully that the game is just pass Bill Self by. You guys can push back if you want, but when we look at this, when we look at the Sweet 16, when we look at the Sweet 16 field and it's full of older coaches, Rick Pitino, John Calipari, Rick Barnes, Izzo, I'm missing somebody else, Kelvin Sampson. Thank you. Look, those are all great coaches as well, right? Multiple Hall of Famers in that mix, all older than Bill. That I refuse to believe that he's the only one of the old tier, Cody, that's just not figured it out. And you can say, well, he hasn't gone to a Sweet 16 all that often. I would also say, out of that group, has any of them won a title in the last 4 years? The answer to that is also no. So this idea that he's just forgotten how to coach is ridiculous. That is also not saying that there haven't been issues that I think they have to continue to look internally if you're the coaching staff. And hey, what are we not doing that everybody else is also doing? Is there something we're missing here with how we build out our roster? And what am I doing wrong? I think both things can be true. I don't think it's as cut and dry 100% either way. I don't think it's that everybody else has been able to adapt and he hasn't, but I also think there clearly has to be some change. But anybody suggesting that they don't want him as their coach next year, I think that's crazy. I think it's a rush reaction. I think you're also falling into the same trap as many fan bases have in college sports history. We all know the Nebraska example.
Rick Barnes is a great example.
Texas with Rick Barnes, obviously
Who's in
Nebraska.
The Sweet 16 right now.
Nebraska with Solich way back in the day. It can get way worse than winning a title 4 years ago and then having early exits. I understand the standard is very high at Kansas. He's also part of the reason
he is.
The standard is very high. The standard that he has also set.
Like if you go back through, it's like in the early 2000s, man, he was on a run. Regional final, championship, semifinal, national final, regional final. He was just like semifinal. He was in deep. Yeah, sure, there's some third round exits or second round exits in there too. But I mean, that man was on a heater. Look, Kansas haters are going to make it. I think it's become a single issue thing for people who just want to hate on Kansas. And they're just like, well, now everyone gets to pay players, Bill. You're in for it now. And here's the truth. I do think NIL has evened all of college athletics.
Sure.
Football and basketball. So I do think part of the reason Bill Self hasn't had as much tournament success is the fact that everybody's playing field has gotten slightly more. Not that he was paying everybody illegally and nobody else was.
I think he was successful, Cody, at developing players that could stick around for 3 or 4 years, and that's not where we're at. And so finding the hired guns, so to speak, through the portal, and it has been an issue.
If you gave him Tiller for 4 years, Tiller would be a great player probably by the end.
I hope Tiller hangs around because I think he will develop. But it's not even like they haven't targeted the top transfer portal guys. They have not gotten it to blend.
Nope.
Look, Darren Peterson was number 1 recruit in the country, or depending on where you're number 1, number 2. Obviously, AJ was there too. They got him. It's not like they're suddenly not getting the players, but is it the right fit? And then the coaching element throughout the season and the right roster decisions in season.
And the Big 12 got harder.
No doubt. Arizona and Houston have changed the Big 12. They have.
Yeah. No more just like you get to mull things over and just like kick around the TCUs of the world. It's a big boy conference with some of the best teams in the country. And so the job's gotten harder. I'm with you. If I were a Kansas fan, I'll take Bill Self for as many years as he'll coach before I try to get out on the street. Like, absolutely. But I also still think, even though he's talking like this, I think it's like a 20-25% chance. I'd still be surprised a little if he retired. Not a lot, obviously, based on those
he's
comments.
got two max left.
But
though.
I would officially, anything over, if you set the over under 2.5, hammering the under. If you set it at 1.5, I'd probably think about it. I think there's a pretty good chance of next year's Bill Self's last year. Got another great recruiting staff coming in. Give himself one more chance to get to at least the Sweet 16 with a roster he's got built, and then figure these things out. Because like I was looking at the champions by year, even since Bill Self hasn't been as good, it's like it's mostly just UConn and Villanova. It's not like a bunch of other teams have been winning it.
I think it is interesting. So I saw this graphic. I thought it was the name, image, and likeness exists, but if you look at the Sweet 16 teams where they started school, entire starting five for Michigan State started at Michigan State. Sometimes was always done. Purdue and Duke, 4 players all started at their respective schools. Houston, 4 out of the starting 5 started at Houston, still are at Houston. Arizona, 4 out of the 5 are Alabama, 4. Iowa State, UConn, Tennessee, Illinois, and Arkansas, all 3 of the 5 started at their respective school, and they're still there. So
I think it's 3 out of 5 for Kansas starting 5 this year. Kansas, right? Darren Peterson, Tiller, Council didn't. He was at Bonaventure.
So that graphic I saw as well. The reason why I'm smirking on camera, if you're watching, we had this very discussion in the opposite way last year. I just found the graphic from last year. We all made a huge deal about the graphic of the Sweet 16 teams a year ago. I'm just like, we all did it. It was like a topic on the show. And last year, the whole big deal was, oh my gosh, only one team has this starting. So like, it's funny how the point you're making now is the opposite of what we all just said a year ago. So what is it? Because last year, you go through, and I don't remember all the 16 teams last year, but other than Purdue was the only team that had all 5 starters from Purdue last year. Everybody else, it was split. Tennessee had 3 of their 5. I don't even know what school this is, had 5 different ones. BYU, they had 3 of their 5. Duke had 4 of the 5, but Auburn only had 1. And I don't even know who some of these other schools are because it was so jumbled. So I don't know if we can even use this year as the example.
It's just so early in all of it.
Yeah,
we just I was agreeing, like in a weird way, like Drew, when we were talking about it earlier, trying to pretend like we have any conclusions about what the NCAA tournament is in the NIL era is foolish. Because the first 2 years, I think you can genuinely wash away. Nobody knew what it looked like. It was different. It was the Wild West. Even in a lot of weirds, I give Bill Self less credit for winning in the NIL era, knowing that it was like year 2 of the NIL era. And I just don't think it's like what the NIL era is now in a lot of ways. So I got like a 2.5, 3-year sample size of what NIL means to the NCAA tournament. I don't feel like Gold. I know if it's going to be you got to keep your guys there, or you got to get fresh guys, or it doesn't matter. It's just about the team, or there are no more mid-majors, or it's only mid-majors. I do think that there's a pretty good chance of all the things that might come true is that mid-majors probably will matter less in the tournament. But I can't tell you that with any kind of certainty. I don't know that. I don't know that because like we're so early. It's like they've described it as the Wild West. We just don't, and they might still put more handcuffs on it over the next couple of years.
We'll see. So
they
far,
make it harder.
It's 2 years. It's 2 years in a row where no mid majors in the Sweet 16. We'll see if next year are we talking about 4 of them making it, and then it all of a sudden doesn't matter. But if it becomes 3-4 years in a row of mid majors not making it, then that's more than just a coincidence. Right now, it's only 2 years, but it's trending in that direction. Doesn't mean that mid majors can't win a opening round game. We saw that play out this year. But I think unless there's going to continue to be some changes around NIL restraints, you're going to see the top players at a high point are then going to go transfer to the Michigan States or the KU or the Kentucky. You just don't have the 4-year, highly experienced mid-major team that is better than the major program because they're trying to figure out the roster construction still. It doesn't happen anymore.
I do really, because I think it's interesting. I think that we can't, it's hard to just blame NIL because if you look at what Purdue, Houston, and Arizona and Michigan State do, they build and they develop. North Carolina even to an extent. When Roy Williams was there especially. But they find the right guys, and then if you want to leave, they either convince you to stay or they bring in somebody else and they replace the talent right away, and they're just as good. I think that's where, like, for Michigan State to have their entire starting 5 started school, they're like, they dip into the pool of the portal, but for maybe 1 guy or 2 guys.
Yeah.
And they're very successful. Houston, obviously, Kelvin Sampson's done a great job with that. I think that's part of the roster construction that's interesting is you just going and finding the best players in the portal in all likelihood, doesn't actually get you where you want to go compared to using the NIL money to recruit freshmen and develop them and also keep them at said school.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, what is it? 3 of the 16 have that, so I don't know.
Have all 5, yeah, but I just gave you
But he pointed out last year that it wasn't like that. So it's like...
No, I know, I understand that. But I think that in terms of what we deem to be successful college basketball programs, you recruit the players and you keep them there using... Like, if you get the right guys, and this is where maybe Bill Self just isn't getting the right guys, AJ Storr, whatever, you got to get the guys, and then if you get the right guy, then you can keep him there for a year or two. Because Bryson Tiller, he's not... I don't think he's going to the NBA draft. Keep him there and develop. Yeah. Flory Badunga, he kept him at KU, and he was one of the better players. I think that's part of the thing you're wrestling with when you're getting players like Darren Peterson, where hey, they're there but they're gone. You're not getting that development, and that was before name, image, and likeness because we had one and dones way before then.
Somebody says Bill needs to scout the G League. do it the. Still absurd that was even like a.
I don't think I would do that either because Bediako, Alabama's actually better without him.
No, I know. He wasn't even that good of a player. That's
Correct.
what's so weird about them fighting to keep Bediako on the court.
Random question.
The random question today brought to you by CM Mosen Son, HVAC, Plumbing, and Electrical. One call solves it all for you, Gold, you, Drew. Text line 913-586-7965. And, of course, over on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and Facebook. That's where we live stream the show 4 hours every single day. Try to keep in touch with people over on YouTube and Twitch. Like and subscribe. Pop to the top of your feed. That way you never miss any part of the show. Random question today is about baseball, as Major League Baseball has the official partnership that's grown with the 999 challenges, and they are offering pre-designed boxes with what I would call half-size hot dogs.
That's the problem. It's not the real challenge.
It's not the real challenge, but it's opening it for all. You get a little custom box. Feels like a 999. So knowing that it'll be at Kauffman this year in an official capacity, is this the year that any of you are going to attempt at least that version of the 999 challenge? So the random question I have for you today is, Gold, will you consider doing it? Drew, same. And is anybody on the text line planning on attempting it this year?
So it is unfortunate they're smaller size 999 challenge.
It's a partial challenge.
To answer the question, this is actually the worst year for me to try.
You've been working on getting better shape. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to eat healthier and other things, and I don't really drink beer anymore. I've switched to other alcohol. So yeah, this is not the year for it. Last year would have been more likely. I'm out.
This is only a 4-ounce beer and a half-size hot dog. So, like, this is a 999 challenge you could actually do. I don't think I could do the other one. I don't think I could do 9 12-ounce beers. I don't think I'd make it. So, like, I just don't think that that's viable. But 9 hot dogs?
You're most likely to do this on the show.
9 4-ounce beers? Drew, what if we let you do this instead of go to the McDonald's? You could just do 1999 challenge. I'll offer you an exchange. You go to the ballpark this year, you eat 9 half-size hot dogs, 9 4-ounce beers. If they'll let you do cider, I'll let you do cider. And, you get through this challenge instead.
Bring me that wiener.
Wait, so I just have to do, I eat 9 half-size hot dogs and have 4 beers?
They have, like, official, like, essentially that's what it is. Because the official 999 one they're doing these ballparks, they added a bunch of ballparks this year. Kauffman Stadium being one of them.
Yeah.
But the hot dogs are like half size.
That's cheap.
And it comes in a little box where you can like check off the hot dog or the beer so that you can like keep track. But the beers are also only 4 ounces. So it's like drinking 4 beers and 4.5 hot dogs. 4.5, but.
The beer's only 4 ounces?
Yeah. So
it
you
is
could do
so
it.
not the 999 challenge.
I think I could do it. I mean, if it counts as that, then yeah.
We come from a long line of wieners.
I think I could do that.
You think you'd do that one instead? I just want somebody on this show should do the 999 challenge. We could all sit there. Does this feel like, I guess I want to know, are you more likely to do it this year now that they sell it in like a commemorative box? It's like, it'd have to be for losing a
men's wieners.
I'm not going to just make myself uncomfortable just because somebody's challenged me to do it. By the way, it'll be at Citi Field, Citizens Bank Park, Coors, the Astros Stadium, and Oracle Park, I guess is all.
I mean, if it's not like the traditional... If it's a
same thing, 9 innings. Less time, by the way, pitch clock, though. 999 might have been easier when you had 3.5 hour long baseball games.
Yeah, but given that you're not having a full-size experience, then it's...
Full-size what?
Experience with the hot dogs.
What if instead of a beer, you just do like, vodka?
That get really dangerous. But that's I've been mainly drinking vodka here recently. Yeah. I've cut back on the beer.
You could have But
I'm just saying this is not the real. For those, I'll say this: if you're someone out there that's done the real 999 challenge, you should be upset with this because
you don't
this
think
is
someone
not
should be able to claim they've done
correct. Someone that's actually done the true 999 challenge is not the same as these half size.
Do they have the price? So somebody mentions the price. Do they have how much it'll be for?
That's a good question.
You know what? I don't think I looked at that. I mean, I don't know, $1,000.
This is not the 999 challenge.
No, I'm talking about how much is it for me to do this? Like, how much is it for me?
Oh, I see. What's the cost?
Yeah. Like, do they have like it's like $20? Or is it more than that?
$54.99.
Holy smokes!
Dude, it's a lot of. It's a ballpark.
Yeah.
That was at least in Philadelphia. I don't know if it'll be the same price at Kaufman. Kaufman is yet to switch to the. That was in Philadelphia last year. The exact same one that was doing this thing. It was that company. So
yeah, man. If I got to pay for it, I'm not doing that. Are you kidding me?
I mean, is that going to be any cheaper than if you had to sit at McDonald's for, like a whole day? $54. I mean,
what did you when you saw the first photo of it? What did you think? Like
of what?
Of the boxes and everything.
Yeah, it feels like kind of a cheating.
Yeah,
a little. Like when I first saw it, I'm like, they constantly thought it was bigger than it was. It's not the real challenge.
So wait. Would it actually count?
I'll let it count. I want to see someone on the show do this, even this version of the 999 challenge.
Mm-hmm.
I still think you'd be more uncomfortable than you think. That's a lot of hot dogs still, right? I mean, it's not crazy.
Sorry. Text line. Yep, we'll get that saved as a drop. Don't you worry. Thank you, Drew.
I feel bad for y'all. They can't provide that.
Now you're giving people a hard time over on the text. That's my random question of the day.
I feel bad for y'all.
I feel bad for you all.
Someone says this just sounds like an average college tailgate.
I mean, if I bought, though, like the truth is, if I bought one of the tall boys a beer and a hot dog at the game, it's $25. Gold. Like the price doesn't seem that shocking to me. If you buy yourself, you go to the stadium on next Monday, and you buy yourself one of those 24-ounce corks. You buy yourself a tall boy cork and a hot dog. What do you in for? $25?
Probably something like that. Pretty close.
Yeah, I mean it's not as crazy as you think. I guess once you get to it,
you're not having a full size experience.
That's a hell of a drop. Oof. Yikes. That is the random question of the day. Up next here on Cody and Gold. We'll get to the 1 o'clock hour, and we're going to talk a bit more about the rest of the field of 16 for the Sweet 16. And the Royals do start the season on Friday. An early look at what we're expecting in 26.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Cole Reagans, and you're listening to Cody and Gold. Weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
It's March, and that means there's no better time to start betting with Circa Sports. It doesn't matter how you're planning on betting the mayhem. Picking individual games, futures to make it through the bracket, props on your favorite players, or more. Circa Sports has you covered. Circa Sports isn't just sports betting, it's sports betting the way it should be. High betting limits, player-friendly pricing, and exceptional customer service. Download the Circa Sports app or visit circasports.com today. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Steve here with Connolly Plumbing Solutions, your neighborhood plumber. Our March special is a toilet tune-up, which includes a new fill valve, flapper seal, and supply pipe for only $199. Yep, $199 is a steal compared to when we started the company or when I started plumbing back in '95. We understand some sticker shock. I can assure you that we are competitive. We show up and do what we say we will. So call Connolly at 913-768-7676 or visit ConnollyPlumbingSolutions.com to schedule.
Bring the flavor home with Gates. Gates seasonings are perfect for everything: meat, chicken, fish, and veggies. Sprinkle it on or mix it in to enhance your favorite dips and dressings. Don't forget, Gates sauces and seasonings are available at your local grocery store, so you can enjoy that rich, smoky taste anytime. Visit any of their 5 locations to dine in. Pick up or grab a Gates party tray for your Easter gathering. Celebrating 80 years of serving Kansas City. Gates Barbecue. Thanks with love.
When the cold sets in across KC, AB May is the trusted name for keeping your home warm, safe, and secure. From furnace repairs to system replacements, we deliver reliable solutions and unmatched care and professionalism. Whether it's a sudden breakdown or routine maintenance, AB May is here to help. Trusted by generations of Kansas City homeowners, we're committed to doing things the right way every time. Call AB May at 913-732-9993 or visit us at abmay.com.
Call your serviceman from AB May.
Well, we finally made it. It's spring, and I have spring fever. I love getting outside and cooking on the flat top or the grill, and Hy-Vee has the best meat department in KC. They've got the freshest, top-quality cuts of corn-fed beef from the Midwest and the best prices in town. They also have bacon-wrapped chicken breast and stuffed pork chops, plus the fresh seafood we love at home. Make it a meal with a twice-baked potato. It's the best meat department in town. They've got the steaks, they've got the chicken, they've got the seafood, and you can get it only at Hy-Vee.
3, 2, 1. It's mid-March, and Kansas City is crazy about college hoops. Pick your bracket, call your friends, and count on Hy-Vee for all your game day snacks. Hy-Vee makes your watch party easy with a huge selection of ready-to-serve party trays, boneless wings, barbecue, sushi, pizza, and fresh bakery goods. Order ahead through the Hy-Vee app, online, or at your favorite store. Even if your bracket is a bust, your watch party will be a winner only at Hy-Vee.
During Lowe's Pro Savings Days, the job works in your favor. My Lowe's Pro Rewards members buy more and save more on the materials they rely on every day. Get up to 25% off select molding when you spend $1,000 or more, and up to 25% off Pergo Evercraft laminate flooring. Put Pro Savings Days to work for you. Members get more at Lowe's. Valid through 3/27. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Visit the Pro Desk or Lowes.com/terms for more details. Subject to change.
No! It's just a golf lesson, champ. Loosen up.
I can't. See that Hyundai Santa Fe?
Yeah.
I only paid to
Finish up on your own. I gotta run.
Deal's so right, it almost feels wrong. The Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Get 0% APR for 60 months, plus 0 payments for 90 days on the Hyundai Tucson, Tucson Hybrid, Santa Fe, or Santa Fe Hybrid. Now, during the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Hurry, offer ends March 31st. Call 562-314-4603 for details.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
Pizza's here.
Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
America, look around. Everywhere you go, prices are still high, rates have been whipsawing markets, and the debt and spending don't exactly scream stability. Experts say diversifying with intention is the #1 secret account that all American smart money uses to hedge against instability. Monetary Gold has been around since 2000, witnessing multiple economic setbacks. If you call now, Monetary Gold will cover up to a lifetime of your IRA fees on qualified accounts. Call Monetary Gold now at 877-NOW-GOLD. That's 877-NOW-GOLD. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional.
Who says vaping is safer than cigarettes? Science does not support that belief. Vapes can contain a variety of chemicals, flavoring agents, cancer-causing elements, and other harmful substances. High levels of nicotine in some vapes can be more likely to lead to addiction, and chemical ingredients are not always listed accurately on vaping packages. Vaping can also damage your DNA, your heart, your lungs, and even your smile. Enough with the puff. Learn more at ul.org/vaping.
Sponsored by Underwriters Laboratories.
Join 96.5 at Maloney Sports Bar and Grill in Overland Park for a Royals and Braves watch party. Friday, March 27th, with first pitch just after 6, right here on your home for Royals baseball. 96.5, The Fan. KFMC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station.
1 o'clock hour here on a Monday. It's Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. We'll get into some Royals baseball here in 10 minutes as they open up the season opening night Friday on the road in Atlanta. You just heard we're going to be out at Maloney's in downtown OP, hanging out, watching the game. And then opening day, as in at Kauffman Stadium, the season opener is Friday, but the home opener is Monday. We'll be outside Gate D. Looking forward to Kauffman Stadium on Monday. And the season, it's weird, I'll be honest. Like, I'm excited because of the momentum from the WBC and seeing some of the key core players of this team perform well there. At the same time, middle of the NCAA tournament, the fact that they're opening up not on the first day of the season, they're opening up Friday night, it's on the road.
Then they're at home, then they're on the road again.
It doesn't feel like this is opening week of the season.
Yeah, and it might just be because it's March 23rd.
Yeah.
Like, it just feels so early, and I understand because of the increased off days and the stuff they did. It's the same as when, like, there's that random, like, June day where they don't play on a Saturday. I'm like, what the hell?
Well, this year that's happening, with the World Cup.
Yeah,
so that'll be weird. So we'll talk some Royals baseball in a bit. But the entire field of 16, the Sweet 16, is now set, and we obviously know no locals are represented, which is a bummer. What team intrigues you the most, though, now that you see the field and potential matchup? I understand Iowa was the story, upsetting number 1 Florida. But which team do you actually think, all right, maybe we doubted them, maybe they have a chance to end up in Indianapolis? Or do you still think whatever your Final Four was, I think we still have our Final Four intact from that we gave out last week.
My Final Four is still intact.
Same. But do you feel differently about the chances of one of those getting upset?
Honestly, what's weird is normally I would be more than happy to just change if I need to, in the sense that, whatever, I can just, I'm not embarrassed to say I've watched a team play now and I don't feel good about it at the moment. All the teams I picked look pretty good other than Duke. Illinois has been one of the better teams in the tournament from the 2 games played. So has Iowa State. Each of them have won both of their games by 20 plus points. So it's not like I'm moved to change on that. Arizona has also been one of those teams. The team of the 4 that I picked to go to the Final Four that's looked the worst is Duke. And that's only because they looked bad against Siena. They didn't have any trouble against TCU. So at this point, I am kind of inclined to do that. The team I consistently sleep on and never picked to win the tournament, clearly should, is UConn. They are always a problem. Dan Hurley has his teams ready to go. And so I probably just undervalue them consistently. I didn't particularly like the way they played for at least a chunk of the year this year, but that was a mistake. I don't know. UConn's always just kind of salty and a pain in the ass.
I had them in the Final Four as well. They got a tough one against Michigan State. I think the team to me that has impressed me the most, that given their now draw and path to Indy, at least to get to the Elite Eight, how about that? Maybe not to Indy. Based on other breaks in the bracket, it's got to be Nebraska. Nebraska, who I'm sure now they're going to be in Houston, so that's a tricky thing. If they beat Iowa, they will then potentially, unless Illinois beats Houston, potentially be playing Houston in Houston. But if there's a fan base that can try to match it a little bit, it's Nebraska, who had 12,000 fans there in Oklahoma City. My guess is a bunch of them are going to head down to Houston on Friday or whenever they play. Is it Thursday? When they play Thursday against Iowa. So Nebraska's a favorite against Iowa. Nebraska could very well be in the Elite Eight. By the time we get to Friday.
But if you were power ranking all the teams remaining in the tournament, what's Nebraska? 13th, 14th, maybe? I'd probably had them ahead of Texas still, and maybe Iowa.
Yeah, so I would have, of course, Arizona and Houston and Illinois and Michigan and UConn in front of them. Maybe Iowa State, but the Jefferson injury is a big deal, man. I know they've looked good, but
that's the one that I'd probably take out, just knowing. But they've looked so good.
That's the problem. I don't know, Nebraska. I would have Nebraska ahead of Iowa, ahead of Texas, still.
Tennessee
ahead of. I would have them ahead of St. John's. I'd have them ahead of Tennessee, and
I wouldn't have them ahead of Tennessee. I would have them ahead of St. John's, though. I'm with you there. Maybe that's just because we watched them play bad basketball.
But Nebraska might be in the Elite Eight here. coming up on Friday, and they could be taking on Houston, Illinois with a trip to the Final Four.
So my Final Four is left. Your Final Four is left.
Yeah.
7 of my Elite 8 are
That's
still
strong.
alive, which is pretty good. Drew,
Six
who
of-
you got
six
left
of
of your
the
Final
eight for
Four?
me, I think.
All the number 1 seeds other than Florida.
So you've lost Florida. So your Final Four is 3/4 alive. How's your Elite 8 looking? Because you had a couple of teams that I know got swiped.
Yeah, I think I've got 5 of my Elite 8 still available.
Okay, so not great, but not awful.
Yeah, Florida really kind of did me in there.
Did you guys all do yours on ESPN?
Yeah.
Yes.
What was what's your ranking?
Oh,
Will you guys look it up? Oh, come on, let's give a percentage here.
Find it.
Let's figure out who was good.
Well, you got
My rank
hold
is.
on,
I just
though.
pulled it up.
But this we ran. Hold on, real
What do you
quick
mean?
though. This doesn't. We ran this last year. 2 days in, Cody was high up and finished dead last. My point is, you
Mine
got
might be worse than yours. This was not as I meant to brag.
No. But I don't care about your percentage though. Go to max. That's what matters.
Okay.
What's your max point?
1,700.
Okay, 1,690.
Yeah.
That's what actually matters.
Yeah, sure.
Not
Drew, what's your max?
because that's how you're going to finish. Not what you're
What's
at
your
now.
current rank?
The max is 1280,
Nine.
and it's because
Ooh,
Florida.
1290?
That's because Florida.
Did you have Florida in the championship game?
Yeah.
Oh, that hurts.
Yeah, rank is
I don't
9
know the
million.
title
Not rank is like 9 million something.
Yeah,
so
same.
1690. The max is what matters because for the bracket challenge stuff, you can miss on a first round game. It doesn't matter as long as you don't miss on your Elite 8 and Final Four.
I just didn't know where you were up to this point.
Did you see there was 2 perfect brackets pretty
Still?
late this time? No, not anymore.
Oh, it was
42 and 0 at one point.
I couldn't even imagine how I would be feeling at that moment.
But this is why anybody should offer and does. Oh, we'll give you $1 billion for a perfect bracket. Yeah, nobody's ever getting a perfect bracket. Stop. It's never happened.
Why don't you offer every year?
I will.
You have to pay it in installments. It's going to take you a long time.
Yeah, that's the installment. I can pay at whatever percentage I need, but it's $1 billion for a
But your
perfect bracket.
kids are going to need to keep
That's
paying
fine.
off this debt. If
Yeah,
somebody ever gets
max
a perfect
payment,
bracket.
max payment per month that you'll get is $100 for the rest of your life, and it just doesn't. And your kids, but $1 billion, and that's it. Nobody's ever going to have a perfect bracket.
No.
It's just not happening. Even in today's day and age where maybe there's going to be less upsets. Perfect all the way through. It's impressive if you just make it out of the first 2 days with a perfect bracket, let alone the first weekend, let alone the first 2 weekends. I mean, come on.
Yeah, the fact that anybody made it to 42-0, they should feel pretty proud. And somehow those teams will still end up like, the team who went 42-1 probably had Florida winning it all. It was like, oops. And then all of a sudden their bracket's toast as far as winning it all goes. So, I don't know. It just kind of is what it is. I thought it was it's weird. I thought the round of 64 and 32, like the second half of 32, we didn't get nearly as many good games. And this is the thing that the NCAA tournament works well with, in the sense that
I thought normally round of 32, I thought this year was better. Like initially Thursday, Fridays. Thursday and Friday is what we all love and wall-to-wall games and all that. But actually, the round of 32 was way more entertaining this year.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, the games were much more
Thursday
competitive.
or Friday? One of them I thought was
The Vandy Nebraska
awful.
game was round of
Saturday,
32.
Sunday, sorry.
The High Point Arkansas game was round of 32. You know,
Michigan
Texas,
State,
Gonzaga.
Louisville was
Mhm.
close. Texas, Gonzaga. Maybe it was the next day. Maybe it was Sunday. I was thinking where like nothing felt close except for the one, or I guess 2 games, because obviously the Florida, Iowa, and you could tell me Arizona and Utah State were close. It was just always 10 points. I need a game to at least convince me that the other team can win. Drew, you watched that just like I did. At no point, 0 seconds at any point in watching Arizona, Utah State was I like
Utah State got down to 4 points, I think. late.
But still, like there was never a point, like never a real point in which I considered that being the case. But it was like, you just run into these matches sometimes. The Friday slate was awful. That was the one that was really bad. Maybe that's what I might be getting it mixed up with that. The Friday slate
Saturday
stunk.
redeemed. Saturday made up for
That's what it
for
was.
a bad Friday in terms of competitive and potential upsets.
Like, what was the closest? Even like I'm looking at it now. The closest game on Friday might have been because Cal Baptist made it close
On Friday?
or Kentucky.
Santa Clara, Kentucky went to overtime.
First game of the day. The rest of the games were not good.
Wright State was leading Virginia with 4 minutes left to go in the game. Hofstra was within 5 minutes left.
They
They
lost
ended up
by
losing by
20.
double digits.
but that's basketball.
Like within 5.
That's not what people are talking
and
about
like-
when they're.
and this might be
I
just-
know, I
we
understand
view-
that, but I'm explaining. Like that's the reason it became that. Like it's basketball. Like I know that people can be disappointed by it. Like I'm not happy the game was 20 points either.
We view it slightly, and we might just view this slightly differently. It's like, I don't view a game that was like 10, 12 points most of the game. Hofstra pulls within 5, loses by 20. That's not a good game to me, Like, they were And, like in the sense that, like what does that really move the needle? That's how I kind of feel about like not the Wright State game because they actually came back, but like like even the Kansas game in a weird way, like the end was kind of tight, but that wasn't a good game to watch for, a huge majority of it, like kind of an unwatchable game. But like the Friday slate was the one that I thought was pretty bad. I guess Saturday was okay. Maybe just because the early slate, slate, we didn't get anything going. Maybe that's what it was. Because Michigan rolled, Duke rolled, Houston rolled, and it seemed like we were just going to go through this slate of, are we going to get a good game? So you had to wait a little while to get it. And Nebraska Vanderbilt was one of the best games of the tournament. That was just a good game. It was like close to the
some of this I just think is like, again, some of us are pro guys versus college guys. I mean, we have this debate with the college football and NFL season. Like the exact same point Drew was making that, well, it was close with 4 minutes to go and then ended up being a blowout would be the same argument when there's an NFL game on Thursday night and you guys all tell me Thursday night football sucked. Yeah. And I tell you that with 10 minutes to go, it was a one-possession game, but then it ended up being a 14-point win. The same argument. It's just like, I think some people back their whatever they like better more. Sure. And that goes both ways.
Sure. And I'm not like, again, I thought yesterday's slate was really good. I'm not like a huge college basketball fan. I've watched way more this year than other, but we had big upsets. We had close games. Like even for instance, like the Purdue-Miami game, it was a close game for a huge chunk of it. I thought Miami made some good strides to get back in it. Their whole problem was what a lot of teams, when the talent discrepancy hits and then eventually you get late in the game, someone falls apart.
Furman was giving UConn a run for their money.
I couldn't bring myself.
Terrace Reed was. I don't know if you guys saw that on Friday night. He had 31 points and 27 boards.
There was one game that I was happy eventually became a blowout because I didn't want to watch it anyway, which was UConn and UCLA. They did a cutaway in the middle of that game, Drew, that perfectly summed up my feelings about that basketball game, which was right coming into a TV timeout. They showed Mick Cronin yelling at his players, snarling like an angry little man. Get effing back!
Get back on defense.
And then I swear to God, without even cutting to a single fan, they cut to Dan Hurley doing the exact same thing. It was incredible. Cinema, Gold. It was unbelievable. I texted you guys in the middle of the game. I said I was rooting for the Meteor. It's like, I don't even want to watch these two guys coach.
I coach UCLA. I don't care about Michigan State students.
Two most unlikable coaches maybe in the sport.
You really think I care about the other?
No, I don't think you care about the other.
Are you raising your voice at me?
No.
Are you raising your voice?
In fairness to UCLA was 8-3 since that. After that, I believe.
Yeah, but then they lost around 32.
No reason. Come on, yes, you were. Everybody's standing here listening to.
I do think.
Did you raise your voice?
He's just such an ass.
When the guy definitively did not raise his voice is incredible.
I think UConn is like the biggest wild card in this.
They can do
this round, just because, like I said, Alex Caravan caught fire in that game. UCLA also didn't have their best player again, which is kind of surprising because we all thought that he'd be back for the tournament. UCLA was missing their second best or their best scorer, like how Gonzaga was missing their second best player. So the fact that UCLA even made it, I think, is a little bit impressive. But Terrace Reed he's the second player ever, I think, to have 40 and 40 in the first two games, and the last to do it was Tim Duncan in 1997, and nobody's really talking about it. Like, he's having an all-time tournament.
Look, and the tournament lights come on. UConn, it doesn't matter who their coach is. UConn shows up in the tournament. At least for the last 20 years, they do. They've got more national championships than anybody, I'm guessing, over the last 20 years, right? They got 3 or 4. How many titles do they have?
For any sport or basketball?
Basketball. They got 4 the last 20 years?
Do they have 4, or is it only 3? I don't know.
I think it's 4.
Who, UConn?
UConn.
UConn and Florida
they're
might
one of the
have
most decorated college basketball. They're a blue blood. Like, I don't even know that you can argue that anymore.
UConn and Florida might have the most.
UConn's won 6 since 99.
6 since 99? They're as blue blood as any blue blood.
We've had this conversation after they went back to back on this very show. I think that was the conversation after 2024. They beat San Diego State and Purdue in back-to-back years, and they went back to back. And then Florida was trying to go back to back this year, and they just lost to Iowa last night.
That was still the most stunning upset.
How about Ben McCullough? I mean, this guy.
Midas's touch. He is the Kurt Signetti. If there is a version of that in college basketball, it's harder to win the tournament that way. But he's essentially done that. He's come rags to riches.
Yeah, it's amazing. If UNC opens up, if Kansas were to open up, he's at least on the list that you got to call. I'm not saying he gets either job, but he's at least the guy on the list for both those programs.
If I were any of the power programs in which I thought I could steal him away, I'd try. Look, I'm not like Florida's not firing Todd Golden. He won the championship last year. But if Todd Golden decided to just quit, if I were Florida, I'd try to steal him away. Like if I were any mid-level, like at or near Iowa's level, I would definitely be trying
I don't know
to
if you
steal
guys did you. I'm sure you guys saw that him and Todd Golden do not like.
Yeah,
each
what
They
was
started
going on at the end of
They
that?
started yelling in the middle
I
of the
am
game.
all about that beef.
Yeah, what was that beef about?
Well, that whole thing. So, what was Condon tackled
They hate each other.
the Iowa guy to the ground, and then Ben McCullum was heated, and then Todd Golden, who wasn't even paying any attention, and was in the huddle, and all of a sudden turned around and lost it for a second. I'm all about that sort of stuff. So they clearly do not like each other. I also outplayed them the entire game. Iowa was better than Florida was for 90% of that basketball game.
I want Chiefs fans to take a deep breath before I describe this, knowing that the contract is written in a way that he'll never see the other 2 years of this. Ian Rappaport had sent out a tweet 2 minutes ago. It said Chiefs tight end Pro Bowl.
We already know there's going to be like $40 million attached
has
to it.
signed Travis Kelce to his contract. He's officially signed it. It's a 3-year deal worth $54.7 million. No, it's not. Relax. I know the text line's going to come running to us, and I just want to tell you real quick, relax. Those are fake 2 years. He's not playing at 3 years and $54 million for this team. His contract next year is too high.
If he's getting paid that much, are we sure?
He's not getting paid that.
We already know this story last week. We already know the exact way it's structured. So.
It is structured in a way.
That was 1 year for 15, not 3 for 50, though.
Did we not pay attention last week when we were having this very
that was 1 for 12 base, and then it could get up to 15. I thought that's the way that it was.
I mean, I'm not even kidding. We literally had a whole topic on how they're using void years without
essentially not using
years.
void years, but using void years in which they structured his deal where they gave him money in years 2 and 3, where like the dead cap hits and the numbers would be insane. But essentially, the cost to get out of it are nothing. He's just going to get paid $4 million and $4 million over the next 2 years if he retires. They're not on the hook for any of that money. If he decided to come back, I don't even think this is the deal they do. I think they'd have to rework it again based on the way that they structured it. It would be an astronomical number if he were to come back next year. I don't think that's ever on the table. This deal is written in a way that it is a 1-year deal with fake years attached to the last 2. He's not actually being paid 3 years for $54 million. That's not the contract structure in any way.
Why would they post it like that then?
Well, they didn't. Ian Rappaport.
I understand that, but why are they fudging the numbers like this?
Because the agent wants to say that the deal was worth X amount of money. If the same tweet from Ian Rappaport has the agent's names and Twitter handles in it, it sounds good that they got their client 3 years for 50-something million. The exact structure, here's what it is. So the Chiefs, here's how they avoid the void years. So they have a minimum salary built into dummy years, 2027, 2028, including $40 million guaranteed in 2028 if he's still rostered by June 8th of next year. However, if the Chiefs release him by June 1st of 2027, they can spread the dead money out. And this is also the path if he just retires and they don't have to worry about it. And so that's the structure and how they're able to do this.
It's a poison pill to kill the contract. It's like it's an intentional pact. It's a poison pill. That's the point. It's like the contract is structured in a way so that they have to get rid of this contract. And so he would never continue playing under that for more than this 1 year, ever. There's no circumstance in which he would see $40 million of this. Like, it is legitimately just that's never coming, that's never even coming to the light of day.
I just don't like how they intentionally are fudging numbers so that so that people aren't.
It's the agent thing.
No, I know, I understand, but it's like they're blatantly trying to get a reaction, and then it confuses people.
Sure.
And then all of a sudden nobody's in the know, and it just gets it's annoying.
Drew, I can promise you right now, on the YouTube chat or on the Twitch chat or on the text stream here very soon, we will have a bunch of people like, whoa, I saw that Travis Kelce signed 3 years for $54 million. I'm like, he didn't.
He's doing it for the agents.
It is, it's all part of this, like, agreed, boys. Yeah, and you're right, Drew. It is, like, disingenuous, but it's also why, like, anytime Alex and I think at this point, we've really been good about it. At this point, Gold, if you and I on the show announce a contract, let's say, hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and wait and see that structure, before we make a determination on whether we like the deal or not. Let's see how that deal's laid out. Because if we had seen 3 for 54 2 weeks ago before we knew the numbers, we'd have been like, What?
But this is every deal that comes out. It's the same thing when we find out a player later this offseason signs a massive extension.
Yeah.
Then you say, okay, well, what's the actual guaranteed money? If you're the agent, it looks good on any deal. Oh, we signed our client to 3 years, $55 million. And then people are like, well, actually, it's like 3 for 20 or it's 3 for 15 or in this case or whatever. They just have the ability to get out of it. So a reminder, yes, the numbers are out. 3 years, $54 million, can be worth up to $57 for Travis Kelce, but they have these minimum salaries built in, the dummy years, 27, 28, $40 million guaranteed in 2028 if he's still rostered by June 8th of next year. Most likely he's retiring, and if he doesn't, they'll just rip this deal up. They'll just void the deal altogether. So
yeah,
don't worry. Travis Kelce's not going to be having $40 million on the books in 2028 for the Kansas City Chiefs.
That would be.
I can promise you.
That'd be something else.
I promise you.
You're willing to make that promise, Gold? You'll do this show naked if, Travis Kelce
Someone
signs
says,
for $40
why would they
million?
word the contract this way? Because they can have an extremely low cap hit here in 2026. That's why. Yes. So basically, they're able to do this in that the money is fully guaranteed. $9 million comes in roster bonus. $3 million is like a training camp bonus. And then they're able to have $3 million incentives, and they can break it up this way so they can manage the cap hit. So it's not a $12 or $15 million cap hit this year for the Chiefs. Instead, it's going to be, I think, a $4.8 million cap hit this year.
And it can go up to 13 because of those incentives. But again, he'll take on like a $4 million, it's like $3.5 million to $4 million cap hit each of the next 2 seasons.
These contracts are starting to sound like that. Hey, the NBA player got drafted by here, but he's actually not going there because 2 years ago they traded for this pick and he's wearing the wrong hat because of this. This is exactly what this is turning into. It's super confusing.
Look at every single Eagles contract. There's some teams who love using void years and use them all the time. This was the Chiefs' version of doing that. This time. And it's not something they do very often, but they wanted to be able to pay Travis Kelce, but not continue to pay him. Again, there's a $40 million exit clause on this thing. So it's okay. It's a 1-year deal. I promise. But, he's never playing year 2 under that contract. If he played a second year, we'd be under a completely different deal.
All right, up next, we'll get to what's trending. Then I do want to talk Royals baseball. Opening night is Friday, as the Royals are in Atlanta. We'll get into a couple of the biggest questions next.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Bobby Witt Jr., and you're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Men, we all know how important sex is in a relationship, both for you and your partner. But erectile dysfunction ruins sex, which can often have serious impacts on your relationship as well. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if ED is a problem in your life, you understand the impacts it has on you and the one you love. But I'm here to tell you that ED is a treatable condition, and almost without exception, you can have really good sex again. At Heartland Men's Health, we're experts in treating ED. We've treated tens of thousands of men with protocols that are effective in well over 90% of cases, which means if you're like most guys, good sex will be the norm. You could even last up to an hour or more and bring a level of intimacy for you and your partner that might just astound you both. It's time to have really good sex again. So call us. Just $99 gets you blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices: Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City.
Feeling the heat? Don't sweat it. Turn to Comfort Systems Heating and Cooling. With temperatures rising, now's the time to make sure your AC is ready to keep you cool. Whether it's your home or your business, Comfort Systems services both residential and commercial systems across the Kansas City area. Call today for a fast tune-up, repair, or a system upgrade so you can stay cool all summer long. Family owned and operated since 1990, comforting people is what we do. Comfort Systems is right for you. MyComfortSystems.com.
The Royals and the See You in the Major Leagues Foundation are teaming up with Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City to recognize outstanding high school sports coaches through the Blue KC Coaches with Character program. From April to September, we'll recognize 6 coaches as a Blue KC Coach with Character. Each honoree will receive a VIP package that includes tickets to a Royals game and more. Be part of honoring our high school coaches whose service is making Kansas City a better place to live, work, and play. Just go to bluekc.com/nominate coaches with character to nominate today.
What if you could have the most reliable Wi-Fi, And get this, what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? That's the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee.
Just 5 years of fiber-powered Wi-Fi that boosts speeds to the devices that need them most.
That finds and fixes problems before you even notice them. Like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a sixth sense. And that keeps you gaming in the fast lane, even when the whole family's banking on bandwidth. And here's the best part. No annual contracts, no hidden fees, and our best equipment included.
Plus, get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi.
Hey, let's face it, a lot can change in 5 years. Kids grow taller, dreams grow bigger, but your Wi-Fi, it would stay reliable and the price would stay put. The Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities. Xfinity, imagine that.
Select plans only. Restrictions apply. Powered by fiber. Connected to the premises by coaxial cable. Actual speeds vary.
There's nothing like the sound of Royals baseball. When the boys in blue take the field, loyal fans tune in, turn it up, and stay connected. And where do Kansas City's most passionate sports fans gather? Right here on 96.5 The Fan. Sports fans are loyal fans. They support the teams they love and the businesses that support their team. If you're ready to grow your business and connect with a dedicated, engaged audience, call 816-522-0444 or email greg.bergen@odyssey.com. That's greg.bergen@odyssey.com.
Join Mark Patrick Hypnosis and stop smoking now without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Only $59.99 guaranteed. That's right. Don't just cut back. Stop smoking once and for all. Also, lose all the weight you want. Only $59.99 guaranteed with Mark Patrick Hypnosis. Let hypnosis destroy unwanted cravings, late day eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating, and lose the weight. Weight loss hypnosis. Wednesday, April 1st at the Wingate by Wyndham, Kansas City. Formerly Sure Stay Plus by Best Western in Kansas City. 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking hypnosis. 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
Spreadsheets, clunky software, 100 different logins just to run your business?
There's a better way. Odoo. One simple, connected platform that handles sales, inventory, accounting, and more, so you can focus on growing, not juggling. Make the switch today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
I'm Boomer Esiason. My mom died from cancer. She was only 37 years old. She didn't have life insurance, and that was devastating for my family. That's why having life insurance is so important to me. Ethos makes it fast and easy. Get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. You can get up to $3 million in coverage with no medical exam.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/protect. That's ethos.com/protect. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
Brought to you by Kalshi. Trade on anything. March matchups are here, and now you can trade the tournament in all 50 states on Kalshi. Trade game outcomes, spreads, and more on top seeds and potential Cinderella stories. For a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use code FAN to get $10 when you trade 10. KALSHI. Kalshi. Trade on anything.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this. Hey, it's Scott Parks, and we've launched Beyond the Pitch KC, a podcast on how Kansas City landed the world's largest sporting event, presented by Commerce Bank. Visit commercebank.com/soccer26. Subscribe on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
What's trending?
Cheddar, mozzarella, Havarti. What's Trending is brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete, trusted in Kansas City since 1994. One contractor, all things parking lot.
Number one on What's Trending, we know the Sweet 16 field is set. It will not include the Kansas Jayhawks or the Missouri Tigers. MU lost their first-round game to Miami. Back on Friday night, the Kansas Jayhawks lost to St. John's, of course, yesterday on a buzzer beater after coming back from down 14 in a game in which they struggled offensively throughout, struggled to inbound the basketball. Now we await find out if Bill Self will actually continue coaching the Jayhawks, as he acknowledged he's going to talk to his family about whether or not he will continue doing so. I still think we'll know by the end of the week, knowing that the transfer portal starts up here in 2 weeks. So I think we'll know that he's coming back by later this week.
Next up on What's Trending, Travis Kelce is officially back for year 14, as expected. As a member of the Kansas City Chiefs, you might have seen Ian Rappaport's tweet saying it's 3 years and $54 million. Relax. It is still pretty much a 1-year deal. It's got a $40 million poison pill attached to it in the sense that if he was cut before June 1st of next season, they can spread the dead cap hit out and not owe him any of that money. So it is still what you thought it was before, which is a 1-year deal worth between $12 and $15 million, depending on which incentives he earns this season. There are some years attached to it at the end in which they'll owe him some money over the next couple of years. If he wants to return a Chief, he would likely have to get a new deal or sign elsewhere if he wanted to continue to play in the NFL. This was always kind of a retirement contract. It is not actually 3 for $54 million.
If the Chiefs release him by June 1 of next year, or he retires, or they redo the deal, the $40 million part just never is going to come into play.
But they would never just play him under $40 million.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I understand.
Let's talk more contracts.
Jackson Smith and Jigba, huh? He reached an agreement with the Seahawks on a 4-year, $168 million deal. Makes him the highest paid wide receiver in NFL history. That averaged out to $42.1 million per year, includes over $120 million guaranteed. Both set records for any wide receiver.
Next up on What's Trending, a bipartisan bill over predictive markets is set to possibly hit the floor as they continue to have conversations around whether or not a predictive market should be allowed in sporting events cases. We'll see if this has any impact on it. At the moment, you can still go to places like Polymarket and Kalshi and do things inside of the sports arena. This bill would look to stop them from doing that and have it more of a regulated industry similar to that of the sports wagering markets. We'll see.
Creighton head coach Craig McDermott retiring. That news coming out from Jeff Borzello today. He is done with the job being passed on to his coach in waiting, Alan Huss. Craig McDermott won 365 games in 16 years at Creighton.
Hell of a run at Creighton.
There's a lot of Nebraska basketball fans that were rooting for Creighton a year ago that are now Nebraska basketball fans.
Well, there were no Nebraska basketball fans before they actually
had
a
there
competitive
were.
basketball
There were, but they were rooting for both has always been odd to me.
Yeah, it'd be like rooting for Iowa and Iowa State. In the same part of the state.
Very weird.
Maybe it wouldn't be quite that, but somewhat close to that. Lastly, on What's Trending, Braves starter Spencer Strider is heading to the IL with an oblique strain. That means Casey will not face him this weekend, which is good news for Kansas City as he continues to recover from injury. As a reminder, baseball is back. Opening night is live on Netflix this Wednesday, March 25th. Aaron Judge and the New York Yankees clash with Rafael Devers and the San Francisco Giants. Monday, MLB opening night, Yankees-Giants, live on Netflix, 7 p.m. Central, 4 Pacific.
All right, that is What's Trending here on Cody and Gold. Let's talk a little Royals baseball, shall we?
Yeah.
Friday night.
I can't believe it's only 4 days away. It's crazy.
Friday night in Atlanta. They open up on Apple TV. We're going to be at Maloney's in downtown OP, hanging out, watching the game with everybody from the station. Should be a lot of fun. Sweet 16 games will be going on as well. I think not just because of the momentum from the WBC, but if you go through the roster and you look at the core from a year ago and the expectations of what some of the other teams are going to be in the AL Central, there's no reason for the expectation to be what we've, I think, discussed throughout much of the offseason, which is this team right there with the Detroit Tigers atop the American League Central. There should not be any excuses. There can be areas that you have questions about, but there's no excuse. If Jonathan India doesn't bounce back, then the front office made a terrible decision in trying to salvage the Brady Singer trade from a year ago. That would be a fact. If, in fact, he doesn't bounce back, then they should not have tendered him. You're paid to get it right. If Jack Caglione doesn't figure some of the issues out from a year ago, this outfield, once again, you'll be sitting and saying they didn't do enough in the outfield. Lane Thomas, if he doesn't bounce back, there's questions, but I don't think all of them are just not going to pan out either. And so when you look at their rotation, you look at the lineup, there's no reason compared to the White Sox and the Twins and the Guardians and even the Tigers that they can't be right there. And they're frankly just better than three of those teams.
They have as good of a roster as anyone in the Central. The Tigers are the only argument, and I would say in 2 of the 3 main categories, they are better. They have better stars. They have better players. The only thing that the Tigers might have better is the rotation. And that is still technically open for debate because 3 through 5, the Royals might very well be better there. depending on what happens to their 1 and 2, is the Tigers get the edge. But it depends. Is it Cole Reagan's in the year in which he was just as good as Tarek Skubal? Or is it Cole Reagan's last year where he was only available for part of it? I said this earlier in the show, and I think this is why I'm excited about the Royals coming up on Friday is this is as good a team as they've had since 2016. People forget 16. I don't want to go back as 15. I know that'd be the easy one because they won the World Series. Before the injuries, that 16 roster was good. That could have been and should have been probably a playoff team. They came up short. But that was a good roster. This is a really good roster. I think what stands out to me is in the infield, they have top 5 players at their position in 4 of the 5 infield spots and a Cy Young contender on the mound. So at catcher, third, short, and first, those are guys who are 5 of the best at their respective spots. So even if the outfield's slightly worse, this is as deep of a roster as they've had. The bullpen's deeper than last year, not significantly, but it is deeper with Strahm and some of the other AAA guys who could backfill if needed if there are problems. And the starting rotation is just as deep, if not deeper, depending on health. And so I'm really high on the Royals this year. The thing that I'm having a hard time grasping is kind of what you said, which is I'm going to need them to win early because the momentum of the season feels weird. They start on a Friday. You and I won't even talk about it till Monday. And by that time, we'll be sitting outside of Gate D for opening day. And that's its own different baseball thing. And then it just feels like they can't. More than anything, they can't get off to that start. Because I saw the text line. Someone says, hey, are we worried that Bobby will be the next Mike Trout? Terrified of it. Of course I am. Of course I'm worried about the team that you root for in your town having a top 5 player in baseball and wasting it. And any year you don't get to the postseason, that's wasting it.
Well, I think
he's too good of a player.
Not to be negative in the situation here, but the other difference, though, with that comp, though, is the contract situation. Bobby Wood Jr. are we 3 years away or 4 years away? 3 years away? He can opt out.
Yeah,
Mike Trout has been with the Angels forever.
Yeah,
there's a difference there.
He never did.
Look, I would love to. I would love.
They had Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani and won nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I would love for Bobby Wood Jr. Look, no matter what, he's going to opt out in a couple of years. The question will be whether or not he signs a new deal with the Royals. It doesn't mean he can't, but he's going
until 2031. They still got 5 years.
Yeah, so they got 4 or 5 years until that comes into play. But that's the difference. Whereas Mike Trout never opted out, right?
Nope, just kept staying with him. But if you
he
go
also
back,
got hurt.
But Mike Trout was one of the 5 best players in baseball for a stretch. And they had Shohei Ohtani. No playoff wins to show for that. And the Royals have playoff wins. In fairness, they won a wild card series just 2 years ago. But I don't want the same as Patrick Mahomes or anyone else. I don't want to see a talent like that not get to do things on a huge stage. And this year's roster has the ability to make noise. I'm not predicting them to win the World Series. The Dodgers still exist. There's other teams that are better than the Royals. There really are. If you look at the World Series odds, the Royals are probably right in the middle. I would guess
30-1 to win.
Yeah. I mean, they're not some huge favorite, but to win the division, they're not even money, but they're not. They're right there with the other top dogs. Trying to look about where the Royals. How far down are the Royals on this list? Right by the Padres, 40-1 according to this list that was made a couple days ago. 30 to 40-1 depending on where you got them. But it's not way different than the Rangers or the Brewers or the Padres. Hell, even the Astros on this list were 25-1, right? They're not as far away as you think. And so as we head into this, you're right. I could point out a million questions, but I could do this with most teams. I could point out Lugo, Cags, and just continue down the list. But I'll tell you right now, I think I could make a longer list, and this is the point. I could make a longer list of the things I know to be true that make them a good team, including just straight players. Bobby, Vinny, Michael, Salvi, the things I know to be true to make them a good team. And so I just expect this team to compete. I want them to get through April so bad and just not have put themselves in the hole to have to just constantly catch up. That's what burned them last year. Not that they were a bad baseball team or untalented Gold. They got so far behind before May 1st even hit. It was always going to be difficult to overcome. What was their record at the end of April last year? Do you remember?
Oh, off the top of my head? Hell no. Do I remember their exact April record?
7-8 games under 500 is what it felt like?
I have no idea.
I bet it was something like that. Let's see. Let's pull up the 2025 Kansas.
If this is right, they were 14-13. If this is what
I
I'm looking
felt
at.
like it was way worse
If
than
this
that.
is accurate for what I'm looking at.
They could not hit.
They were 14-13 in April, 15-13 in May, 8-18 in June.
It was June last year that burned them. I think they were 8-18 in June.
Oh, this is from StatMuse, so I'm hoping that's correct.
No, I'm sure. Well, I mean, fortunately with StatMuse, it's hit or miss. But I'm sure that it's close enough. I can look at it. Yeah, 14-13, 15-13, 8-18. That's correct. And then they finished the season, of course, 15-9, 16-12, just barely below 500 in September, where you're like, you had a chance. The AL Central is not that difficult of a division. I think the White Sox will be slightly more competitive.
Twins are going to be
I
awful.
think the Twins will be way worse. So I think the Twins will be significantly less competitive. The White Sox will only be slightly more competitive. And sometimes it's just like, how far can the horseshoe be shoved up the ass of the Guardians? Just every year that's going to go with no payroll, no talent, and be competitive? One of these years they're going to stink, I'm convinced. I don't know if it's this year. They can't just be mediocre forever.
Yeah.
That team does not have enough talent and does not possess nearly the amount of talent the Royals have on their roster this year. So, like, it would be surprising to me if they're not better than every team other than the Tigers. And look, they are going for things that matter for a Royals organization who's been mid-market and bad for a long time. Stacking up consecutive winning seasons, Gold, and going to the playoffs, that's the only way to give yourself a chance in any given year. This could be the third straight winning season for this team. The second time in 3 years they make the playoffs. In the time I've been alive, that's once. That's 14 and 15, period. 13, 14, and 15. Probably the only time that they did it 3 years in a row. And the entire time I've been, not alive, but at least remember watching them, that's all.
Yeah, we'll have all day Friday to talk opening day, and of course on Monday as well. We'll get into more specifics for the Royals as it's this week, but we do have a couple more days till we get to that point. They are in Texas doing their exhibition games or whatever it is against the Rangers. They were out at Six Flags. It looked like yesterday the Royals social media team putting out photos of multiple Royals players going on the roller coasters. It's become like a tradition now for
annual
the
trip
guys.
for them.
Yeah.
And then Isaac Collins apparently threw up, or at least Vinny said he threw up. I'm guessing
sure
he's not making that up.
I'm sure he did.
Man, have you guys
He's not
ever
a roller
thrown up on
coaster
a
guy.
roller coaster?
I haven't. You know, I do not like heights, but I've never thrown up. I've just been miserable on them, but I've never thrown up before.
Drew, you ever thrown up on a roller coaster?
I've been close.
Yeah?
Just because you're not hydrated enough or you have something, you eat something a little too soon.
Those like you're a kid and it's like 98 and you've been standing outside. We used to go to World of Fun. I'd be there for 10 straight hours as a kid. That might have been summertime daycare for my parents at times.
I was
during my
normally
childhood.
good. I was normally
They've
good
stopped
about
that a little, thankfully.
Yeah, I was normally good about not like having a hot dog or having like some fries or whatever, and then going on a roller coaster right after. But the non-water deal where you're going through a bunch of rides and eventually you go on one where there's some corkscrews or some you're going upside down a little bit, and
I think
that's when you hit like in the middle of it's great. The first go round's good, but if there's another loop or another corkscrew, then it's like okay. By the end of it, the roller coaster stops. It's like I need to go to the bathroom because I don't feel good or I need to get some water.
In fairness, I think the only one that ever made me ever feel like I was going to really throw up is that one where you spin around and then the floor drops out.
Yep, I know what you're talking about. You're like pinned up.
Yeah. That's the one that like sends my stomach into just an absolute mess.
I looked it up. If I have the date, I think Worlds of Fun opens up on April 25th. I think that's the first day that Worlds of Fun opens. Or is that right? Yeah, I think so.
That might be right.
Yeah, from what I can tell on their website. Apologies if I'm not accurate on that. But from what I can quickly see, Worlds of Fun, 25th. We've talked about going.
We were scheduled to do a show there.
We were.
And then they moved the opening of weather got us. Weather, and they moved the opening of a roller coaster. When they reopened a roller coaster of my youth, Drew, we were going to be out there for it and all ride it before the show. And instead, I was just late for the show riding the roller coaster.
I like roller coasters. If I had a preference, though, I prefer the water parks.
Cody, by the way, you're talking about the Bamboozler.
Bamboozler.
That's the one where you stand up, high speed, circular ride, raises to a tilted position while
I'll
rotating.
tell you right now.
I think that's not what their floor drops out though, so maybe it's not that.
I'm thinking about the one where like the floor would drop out underneath you. You'd go inside that little room, and then it was like the
Cyclone Sam. No, I don't know. I'm on
was
the
a roller coaster. Cody?
Cyclone Sam was the indoor roller coaster. No. It was like the spin. It was the spinning one, but the floor would drop out. I thought it was indoor, not outdoor.
Okay.
The Bamboozler spins you, but wasn't there one like in the indoor for a while? Then when we were kids, where the floor, like where the floor would fall.
No, I know what you're talking about, but is that still around? Someone will text in and tell us. I'm not sure. Yeah, I haven't been to Worlds of Fun in years, man.
I still think it'd be fun. I think you'd have fun if you went one time.
I can't do the Mamba
Just close your
anymore.
eyes.
I can't do the Mamba
Just close
anymore.
your eyes.
The issue is not once the ride gets going. The whole issue is the minute-long climb to the top. That's my problem, Cody. Once we're in the middle of it, I'll be good because nothing you can do at that point. The issue is the slow ride to the top of the Mamba. That's where I will be miserable for about 60 seconds. Like truly miserable, thinking I'm going to die. And it'll be awful.
Found the ride.
Okay.
It no longer exists at Worlds of Fun anymore. But I found the ride and I found the article and they said so long, farewell.
What's it called?
Finish Fling was the
Okay.
name of the ride
There
that
we
you
go.
and I are thinking
The text
about.
line's full of it now. Thank
Stand
you.
along inside the wall, the ride spin, the floor drops out, pinning passengers against the wall.
Yeah, the text line is on top of it. On top of it. Yeah, we should go.
It apparently closed in 2017. That one would put my stomach in knots.
Like I do the Patriot and some of these other ones. The Mamba's just the one I can't do it. Timberwolf, all about it. Love it. Fury of the Nile, if we're doing a little Worlds of Fun or Oceans of Fun part of it as well.
Cody and Gold Day at Worlds of Fun this year.
I won't do the detonator. You know there's no chance.
I want to put you on a ripcord or a detonator one
There's
time.
no chance to detonator. There's
Honestly, the more you talk about it, the
no
more
chance.
this is the thing. The next time you and I make a show bet,
Well,
that's
I
the thing.
won't,
I'm
I won't
asking
agree
you.
to the bet.
You're just never going to agree if
Yeah.
it takes one detonator
Cody,
ride?
the detonator is never happening for me.
Ever?
I don't shy.
Have you ever done it?
No,
Even
I
as a
don't
kid?
shy away from this. You guys know I can't stand heights. There is no way I'm going on the detonator. I know what it is. I've been around since I was a kid. The detonator's been at Worlds of Fun forever. There is no chance. It would take an ungodly amount of money to get me on the detonator. A lot of money. $100 not getting it done. I'll tell you that.
Wow, 4 figures?
It is north. It is well north of $1,000. Yeah.
Man,
And
so
there's
it'd have
no
to
way.
be you'd have to be a bet you're very confident in.
Yeah, there's just no way. Say whatever you want. I don't care. There's no way I'm doing the detonator.
All right.
But I'm all about the other rides.
You'll give it a shot?
Yeah.
I was at Worlds of Fun last year with my kid. But they're not old enough. They won't go on the big roller coasters with me yet. They just want to go on like the Viking Voyager. Yeah, just want to like swing back and
Yeah,
forth or whatever.
I get
you know?
that. But they're little.
I can't. Well, and some of them, like my younger son, he can't even go on half of those rides. So like he's not tall enough to go on the Mamba.
Drew's got to get out there. He hasn't been there yet, so we got to get Drew out there.
They have all those carnival games too, right? You know,
Yeah.
they got like the.
It's a regular Dave and Buster's.
Do they have the?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah. They have the carnival games. It's
I mean,
a
you
theme
get
park.
the good prizes. They have like the 3-point shot and stuff like that, or the basketball ones.
Yeah,
Or
they
those
got
are
all
always
the.
dy-
They've
those
got
are always
all
dynamite
the
ones for me.
They got all the normal
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Pretty much like because I grew up in the Northland. Pretty much every single kid I knew who had a job worked at Worlds of Fun.
Yeah.
So like it was always like that was like every person I knew. That smell of fresh blacktop felt like summer for a second. You walk in there and you're like, "Yep, that's it. I'm back at Worlds of Fun."
Yeah, I have not been there since probably sophomore year, junior year of high school, maybe.
Man, it's been a
Yeah.
long time.
Yeah.
It was a field trip for us as a kid. I don't
We
feel like
went on a field trip there when I was in
I'm starting to think it's not a field trip anymore.
middle school. I think we
Ooh,
took a
maybe that's
middle. I think we took a middle school field trip there. And I've lived. You know, I'm from here, but I probably have only gone to Worlds of Fun like 6 times in my life. That's it.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Again, as kids, they bought us one passport and then they taught us how to like rub the glow in the dark stamp.
Yeah.
on each other's hands. So we just go between or I'd sneak in under the like security tent area underneath that water tower spot.
Text line says, I could see Drew being a problem with the circus games. He'd be walking out with hella bears. Yeah, I could see Drew with like 5 of those gigantic teddy bears and also basketballs walking out. Yeah.
A Royals day game?
On the road.
Maybe
yeah.
there's like a Royals road day game and we can all go out.
People are throwing out suggestions to get me to do the detonator. Someone says, what about a case of National Treasures, which is a very expensive baseball, or it could be baseball or